Oh dear, I think I know what this is. You see, Stan, as you get older, things that you used to like start looking and sounding like shit. And things that seemed shitty as a child don't seem as shitty. With you, somehow the wires have gotten crossed and everything looks and sounds like shit to you. It's a condition called being a cynical asshole.
Oh no.
Yes. And there's no known cure, I'm afraid. Everything just seems shitty and everyone starts to seem shitty and everything they say just starts...
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
Yes, Mr. Sherman, everything stinks.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Hey, Farva, what's the name of that restaurant you like with all the goofy shit on the walls and the mozzarella sticks? You mean Shenanigans? Oh. You're talking about Shenanigans, right?
Put those away!
It stinks.
I hope I can help. Necromancy may be legal in Cyrodiil, but few will openly admit to practicing it now that the Mages Guild has banned it. Farewell.
May you rest in peace.
Go me. It's a culture in decline.
In those days, there was none of this kind of canon wars stuff that came about later on.
Right.
It was all canon. Everything published was canon. And so I thought, well...
Kids with your loud music and your Dan Fogelberg, your Zima, hula hoops, and Pac-Man video games, don't you see? People today have attention spans that can only be measured in nanoseconds.
I just found out Count Dracula was a...
Oh, is that so?
You don't have to believe me, but that's the facts.
You know, suddenly I miss my dad.
So, did I win?
No.
I'm sorry,
I'm not the one you should be f***ing apologizing to.
You tried to kill me! Stop whining!
No! Jaden, you have a right to be angry. You want revenge. You deserve it, Jaden.
Thank you.
No problem.
No, Jaden, wait! Apology accepted, Rosh.
Good, that's settled. And remember, it's Jaden. I mean, Kyle. Call me Kyle.
Sure thing, Kyle.
Okay. You're both ready to start putting what you've learned to use. Let's see how you do in the real... What the... Are you here? Stupid shit.
Not straight. Stay tuned.
Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Sith, number 138. boy, oh boy. The numbers keep rolling, and we certainly keep getting into enough, as it were, shenanigans. It's in the title. This is going to be a Shenanigans Abound episode for sure. Because with anything in this world, we all, I don't know how to put it, but it's certainly, all you're trying to do is just poke fun at other little things. And, I'm somebody that'll keep to my own little corner, but this will have more relevancy in a moment. I am your host, The Fractured Filter. I hope you're all doing great tonight. And of course, with me is, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, my friend, my compatriot in all this madness. Certainly he is going to probably be earning the Darth Malgus look tonight. My co-host, Jay Hitman. Sir, in the grand scheme of things, how are you tonight?
Black pill.
Oh.
Man. 187. Black pill, man. No, good. I'm just in kind of a fighting mood. Again, not really fighting, but just
frustrated,
For sure. We talked a little bit before the show kicked off about kind of some stuff that took place, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
This was around April 30th, so in the May 1st. Well, at least the thing I posted on X was April 30th, and then the aggressor, as it were, kicked off on May 1st. So, otherwise, I'll say I'm certainly doing good.
not irritated in the slightest.
There are things where it's just like the internet is the internet and all of that jazz, but you know me. I choose to direct my anger or frustration or what have you, my complaints, especially mostly against the corporations that are just butt fucking all of our favorite intellectual properties and stuff like that. The people that just the real people that really earn some fucking ire. Individuals,
individual can do that too.
I know, and we poke fun at our Dave Filoni's and everything, and then even sometimes when we're feeling feisty, a Star Wars theory or so, mainly when he got a whole bunch of Kyle Katarn stuff wrong. But
he got the Kyle Katarn stuff right. He got the Plagueis stuff wrong.
He got a lot of stuff wrong. But yeah,
Actually, I was just trying to press your buttons. He really got it wrong, but I wanted to see if you were
would take that bait. You see, this is why But let me just say hello to the chat really quick. Hello, chat. We had the backseater in before things were kicking off, saying shenanigans are abounding. They are. The Briscoe 1234. Hello, saying hey everyone. Hello, and Dan Blackroyd, hello, sir. Here as always. First stream since Thunderbolts. We have to make it a good one, he says.
And I do have.
You have some reporting ins on Thunderbolts?
I can report with absolute authority.
Okay.
So
all right.
We will talk on that later. I didn't even think about that. We got to.
I know he was very disappointed in us that we skipped out on the week release of Thunderbolts. I did feel a bit of shame there. It was unfortunate, but these things happen.
Hold on. If we're going to report, we have to report correctly. It's no longer the Thunderbolts.
It is the new Avengers. Yes, you are correct, sir.
Whether this is a marketing ploy or not, I cannot speak to it, but they are.
It's a heck of a one, then. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen somebody change a movie after the movie was released.
I know. Crazy. They're just taking all kinds of risks here. And hello, Melissa Lord, saying, hey, Fractured Filter. Hello. Hope you're doing well tonight. Okay. You want to kick us off with this a little bit? Or shall I do the bit of the introduction for some of this?
Yeah, you can do the intro.
Okay. Okay. So here's how things kind of went. Everybody and anybody, we all have a very interconnected community in these here parts. And I'm sure a lot of you in the chat know a good old Star Wars Marvel purist. Here we go. He dropped this, saying congratulations to everyone who helped Disney and Kathleen Kennedy recover some of their losses. I'm sure the $45, $55, $65 million they made off of you will change the entire course of Disney circus film. My thoughts and opinions. Let's do some math. And he dropped his video. I checked it out. It was quite something else, especially like it was for just box office numbers and all that jazz. And, you know, all of the people going and seeing Revenge of the Sith. Do what you want to do, folks. I personally I think we did put on, I think I ended up watching Revenge of the Sith, you know, just here at home, nice and comfy. And especially getting to chat with Devastator. Oh God, why am I mind? Captain Keeley and Nardark over both the movie and novelization of Revenge of the Sith, which you, Hitman, did not show up for.
Yeah, I got my days wrong. I thought I was on vacation that Thursday, but I was actually that
goofball.
Friday. Yeah,
so like you see, he is, you know, all good. And I, you know, anybody that's followed me on X, I of course posted it's also tiresome, you know, just to see the lunacy of it all, the batty people still giving Disney their money and rationalizing it, which again, hey, that's on you folks if you do so. But a friend of the channel, former friend of the channel, I don't know what the situation is anymore, but he was even on an episode or two. Carl of RNG Podcast decided to chime in, saying it is tiresome to bitch about something for 10 years like a liberal. The funny thing is that I do know that he himself a former part of the Democratic Party. He doesn't hide that fact. I'd almost say projects a little bit, but certainly gets that out. So it just looks like if you try and call him that, it's a no you sort of situation. So, you know, I just, you know, and I said to correct the record up until January 8th, 2022, which was the very first episode of Saturday Night Sith, I was ignoring Disney Star Wars. Okay, and let me elaborate a little more on that. I was ignoring it for the most part. The only time I saw, and I believe I've explained this, the other Disney Star Wars movies was through riff tracks. Once they put out their audio commentary to riff on it, then I checked out the movies. After Rogue One, I was out. But then otherwise but that was only once those things dropped from riff tracks that I was paying attention to, but I did see those. Otherwise, yes, I had ignored Disney Star Wars up to a point until I moved here to Idaho, was interacting with a bunch of new people, and Mandalorian was in sights, and I'm trying to engage with new people. So at the time, I was like, okay, I'll check it out. Because you were going to check it out. I know one of my bosses was going to check it out, a coworker and stuff. So I was like, okay, fine. But, you know, you and I started talking more and more, and like to the effect, as I say here, after conversations with Jay Hitman, he and I decided to start talking about it on stream with Saturday Night Sith. So there's that. Now, I never, and this is my big point. And you know what? Like it's a fair thing that, yes, I could ignore all of it. But the same goes for him. I said, so there's that. Now, I never asked you to follow what I discuss. You chose to do that. I also don't force you to bitch about us bitching about Star Wars. Hell, I don't engage with the people talking positively about Disney Star Wars, and I don't. And this is where I have to say here. I stay in my own little space, as it were. If you don't like the discussions going on, then maybe take your own advice and just let it go. Ignore it and move on. Because that is the thing. I like interacting with the people I enjoy having conversations with. I don't go into other people's spaces to drum up any drama or to, give people shit. If they want to go and have their fun, they can go ahead and have their fun. I'm certainly also going to at least have a laugh when people when Star Wars Marvel Purist calls out the shills, when Grizzy calls out the shills and stuff like that. That's all some fucking hilarious shit. But I'm not engaging with these people. Anytime I have something to say, I quote tweet, and I'll copy and paste the link for an article, make a comment. The last time I called out anybody specific directly was over the Spider-Man 2 nonsense with Yellow Flash and Fear the Beardo. I called them both out for being total bitches for actually purchasing that game and being dumb enough to fall for it, because how did you not see the writing on the wall from the first game into the second? That was the last time I really did anything like that so directly. Now, again, like I say, everybody has their choices if they want to do this or not. And like it was, I tagged Hitman in this, and the things kept going. At least certainly between Carl and myself, and this has been kind of a weird growing situation. But Jay Hitman did come in, but let me kind of fill my side of the coin here. He said, no, I think you're doing what you're doing now. He says, no, I think I'm doing what you are doing now, which I fully disagree with. I don't believe he is, because as I've seen him, he's been going around basically just, he seems to want to pick fights with everyone. I don't get it myself, but everybody has their own way of entertaining themselves particularly on X. So I'm just like, bro. But he says, ignored it for years, and now I think it's time to mock the silly obsessive nature that has spawned from this. I like you as a person, but acting like Livs with Harry Potter is also dumb. He kept bringing up Harry Potter. I don't know. I don't quite understand, because I don't know exactly how the Libs have acted with Harry Potter other than being pissed at J.K. Rowling for her being quote unquote transphobic, even though she's 100% on their side. Because last I also knew the conservatives were supposedly once upon a time ago drumming up problems against Harry Potter because of witchcraft and stuff like that. So he brought that up a couple of times. I don't know why, but that was the source of the situation, and I just wanted to put it to bed. I just said, read my post again, because no, you're not doing what I am doing, as I detailed. You know what Jay Hitman and I discuss, because to me, I felt like he's just like, oh, you only focus on one particular topic. And I'm like, no, we've talked. It's like we discuss other things, and he's known this mainly because it is. Well, there's. And I've shared the links to Duke Devil 95's channel for Wormhole Watch, as we're watching and discussing Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which has been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's episode if we're still on par for that. We've done our own Stargate watch, which we do need to eventually get back to at some point. And, we have discussed, I've had positive topics to talk about. We haven't always, we've kind of changed our focus from not just Star Wars, but to other things, gaming and stuff as well. So, and and like I said, and it's more than just Star Wars, but I know you are going to perceive things as you want, and no matter what I say is not going to change your mind. This is where he and I do feel are very similar in particular ways, both very stubborn, and this is where I've been very confused of what's been going on, because it's like, I know he can also be very sarcastic, and I almost think it's like my old levels of sarcasm, where it's just like you're trying to understand whether or not where they're coming from, and if they're being legit pissed or if they're just being sarcastic with you. And I remember a friend of mine once telling me, I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not with me, and it used to roll off like that. So, but he could be just as stubborn with some of the shit as well, and I know I can. I wasn't gonna back down with it, and I said, well, I will leave this on agree to disagree. And I just tried to leave it at that. I have enjoyed our conversations and hope we can have some friendlier ones again sometime, and I'm not going to engage in this further. Have a wonderful night and weekend, sir. And that's where I just kind of cut the whole thing off. And I did see that he had a final reply saying, my dog, the difference between you and that insane weirdo purist is you can actually control your emotions better. I guess I'll take that compliment. However, you can't hide your real feelings about stuff. I don't try to hide my real feelings necessarily. I just like to cool things down. I don't always want to engage in this is just all fucking gay drama. That's all this all boils down to at the end of the day at times. I don't perceive things different. I listen to what people say. There comes a time when you need to realize all this bullshit is just you wasting your time making yourself upset to the point you ruin the world of joy. I have, this is the funny thing, because again, it's like I play plenty of things that bring me joy. I've played Mass Effect. I enjoyed the hell out of that. I enjoyed the whole trilogy. I played things like Deus Ex, Jedi Outcast. Plenty of other things that are enjoyable that I don't shit on. I may nitpick here and there, but that's just the fun of looking at things in other perspectives too. But he says your biggest issue is you look for your fun to be ruined by anything. I don't look for these things. I just happen to, catch certain problems with certain products. And yes, there's nothing but problems with Disney Star Wars. Yes, Dan Blackroyd, Thunderbolts brings joy. So, and then it says, versus the people you listen to look to ruin your fun. And then caps it off with, which again is what I've said to you quite a few times, man. So ain't nothing new. The whole thing is what baffles me about him and I and our interactions was, for one, yeah, he's the first one that started DMing me and talking to me and stuff like that, which I'm like, cool. He also offered up some Star Wars merch to me. I got some really cool posters that I still need to put up that he gave me of Dark Forces, I believe it's a KOTOR one, and some other ones. Really cool stuff that I still got to put up on the wall. And then the Dark Forces PlayStation 1, and I forgot what the other game was. But yeah, he offered for free to send me this cool stuff, and I'm just I'm very confused. And he deemed me his favorite hater. I'm like, okay, I'm still doing what I've been doing, quote unquote, hating on stuff. Where's this sudden change coming from? I'm very puzzled. I only have, like I said to you, Hitman, before the show, some inklings, but I have nothing confirmed, nothing or anything. And I don't know. So that's part of my side of the story. Hitman, do you want to go into yours?
What are your inklings?
I think I know he's talked about them, but they're personal to him. Or, I mean, he's talked about them on X, but I just, like I said, I hate drumming this stuff up.
You didn't start it, though.
No, I suspect a couple of things. One was potentially from when I first got my stuff from Night Dive / Limited Run Games with my System Shock special edition items, and then I noticed the obvious tear, and he and I had a bunch of back and forths with that, because I was like, dude, this is an Limited Run Games problem. They're the ones that manufactured it. Night Dive hired them to do this. It's on them. And he's like, no, Kickstarter. So there was that. And also, Melee Games, James and Kay, they've had their problems with Limited Run, and they certainly weren't gonna calm down the situation for what our animosity towards that company. He really does seem to like them and has had good success with them. Awesome. But you can't help when something goes wrong and it sours you on it. And then, yes, I was I was on the whole bandwagon, I guess, of, screw the whole Sun Wukong game, China developed, warning signs and all that sort of shit. And then along comes around the whole Marvel Rivals game. Now, initially, I didn't quite know that they were developed by a Chinese company. I just saw the game, looked at it, I was like, it could be fun. I think it just slightly before it kind of dropped, I heard about it being a China game. I forget when. But then because he was also very much in that band camp of fuck China and them developing, bringing out games and stuff. So I don't know if that was part of it, because then also I kind of got into Marvel Rivals. Because it's like, I don't know. And then, like I said, some of the stuff is personal to him with some family matters going on. I only have guesses of what turned the corner, but like I said, I've seen him kind of going at other people in this space for sure. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Like I said, this is all just so.
Is this the same guy that was we had on the show?
Yeah, and I had been on multiple times on his channel. We talked. We went a couple hours talking about freaking Dave the Diver and the fun with that game and stuff like that. Like, I don't get where some of this is coming from. Because again, like I said, I wasn't part of the engagement. Like, it turned mutual, but I don't know, dude. So like it is. I don't know. I only have inklings from what I've done to maybe potentially piss him off.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like, everybody, again, I'm just confused, man. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and those who have been with us since day one, like, you guys are awesome, and you know that what we're about. And I just want to remind people that the whole idea behind this show was not to rip on Disney. Our first show that we had, we were diving into was it the
Book of Boba Fett?
But we started by doing the comic.
Oh, yes. The Dark Empire, I believe it was.
Right. So this whole show had started, the idea behind this, and we said this during the first show. Like, we were at work, and we continued. We had conversations around EU and the books, and that's how the show was birthed. That's how the show was birthed. It was the idea of it was going to be about EU and the lore and the content, and then it developed into watching and reviewing Star Wars. But I want to make it very, very clear, the idea or the motivation was not to rip on Disney, right? The idea, at least for me, and I think also for you, was to, I guess, understand and see where they like what they're trying to do. Like I've said this before, it's nothing new. Like I don't want to hate Star Wars just to hate it, but I said before the show, as a Christian, I have my morals. And my
So here,
faith,
hang on. We do have. Hello, Carl, RNG Gaming Podcast, saying, if you wanted to talk to me, you could just do that.
We'll bring him on the show then. Send an invite because we had talked about getting them on. Bring him on.
I mean, I know he did. See, this is why I had a problem with this to begin with.
Well,
but
and maybe
we said he does. Hey, Carl. And if you want to invite into the Discord, I'll let you in. Like I said, I don't want to do this.
Well,
but I'm explaining I'm explaining the situation so everybody has context for what's been going on. Because I was about to go on to Hitman's side. I just know I kind of started some extra shit with all this. And I felt like I also kind of roped you in a little bit.
No, and I wasn't like here's the thing. My point in engaging with Carl, like I was respectful and I wasn't clapping back, but I was trying to make at least our side or my side known. I have no hard feelings. I just want to understand like where this came from and what I don't want anybody to have a wrong idea of why we do what we do and why we started this show. So if the point is to rip on Star Wars and complain because we want views, like that's not like I care less about views. No different than Justin doesn't care about views when he talked to Theory, right? Justin's Marvel peers, his whole mission is to gatekeep. No different than Tim or Laura or Scripture, all the other people that are within our circle, right? I'm not out here to get views. We're not monetized. There's no benefit. Like there's no benefit to get views. I don't come on here every Saturday to get views, right? I come on here to talk about the things that we talk about. So if you think it's about complaining for the sake of complaining and you say, well, you have your, you choose to watch it. I was like, well, you're right. We have chosen to watch some of that stuff. But again, for me, it's like, I want to know, are they going to get anything right? Or are they just going to continue to get stuff wrong? And then let people know from my side of the coin, it's like, this is what I believe they're pushing. Whatever message it is or whatever the agenda is. I mean, that's the point. So you can choose not to watch it and you're valid in saying that you can choose not to watch it, and that's fine. And I also like to remind everybody, what was the last thing we watched together?
One of the Stark.
Ahsoka.
Oh, that's right. Because you didn't watch Acolyte. I tortured myself with the rest of that stupid shit, but we didn't even review it.
So.
No, Carl. You're right. He says, I'm not looking to make a drama channel. You're my buddy. You could have just DM'd me about this. I could have. Yes, you're right. And I had been thinking about that for a while now. But
I think it just appeared to be heated. The whole exchange. Everything was just heated.
That's why I take steps back from some of this stuff, and because like it is, we're looking at text. We a lot of times we can misinterpret what people are trying to express via text. That's why I don't like a lot of this shit.
100%. It'd be different if we came on the show and said, "Well, F him, F that buddy," or just,
yeah.
No, that's not. For me, I just wanted, and I could have done the same thing. I could have done, but I'm not out here to start a fight. I just want to know, like, if there's if somebody has a grievance with somebody,
and that's just either one of us could have, but then everything across the board, everybody could have reached across the board, I guess, and started talking directly, being like,
listen,
because like it is, there's a bunch of egos when you start jumping onto X out in the public domain.
For sure. Listen, I don't like confrontation, man. Like, and how many times have I told you, either in person or behind the closed doors, that like there's a potential that a war is going to start if I reply to this comment, right? And I typically don't. I usually like I'll type it up and then I'm like, I'm just not going to do it. Like, it's not worth. I'm just not going to do it, right? So like, I'm not a guy that will, just get out there and start something just for the sake of starting something. I've got better stuff to do and than that. But if it's somebody who I think is a friend or an acquaintance or somebody that watches the show, then like absolutely take the time to figure it out, man. So I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts on it. So.
Well, and like I said before we started, nobody's talked shit on other streams, and that's why I wasn't wanting to do this so much, but here we are now.
Well, like I said, I don't think it's talking crap at all. Like talking crap would be like, well, he's a prick and he's an idiot and he doesn't know what he's talking about, so haters gonna hate. Like, no, I mean that's one thing. I don't think there's
I'm not trying to start any flame wars or anything like that. It's just like you wanted to discuss the whole matter.
Here's the thing: if it didn't bother you or I in any type of capacity, if there was no want to try to get to the bottom of it or understand, well, F him. And I'm just saying that in his generalized capacity.
Yeah, you're not directing that at anybody right now.
No, I'm just saying if you didn't care, if it didn't bother you, why would you bring it up? Why would you talk about it off stream or on stream, right? So again, people could disagree with my logic, but at the end of the day, it's like here we are talking about it and ask the question as to why are we talking about it. There's other stuff we could have been talking about today. There's so much stuff we rather talk about today. Right?
Shall we go into that other stuff?
For sure, but and we could put this to bed here in a minute. It's whatever you do, you should look at the intention as to why you do something, right? Whether it be to spite, it should never really be to spite somebody, but always ask the whys behind what you do, right? Because when you explain the whys, then people understand, right? And then there's the the possibility that everybody's on the same page. So I would just say in conclusion, there's no shit talking, there's no it's none of that. I've stewed on this for like 2 weeks. I told you
that's why I had hoped once we got to today that you weren't gonna bring it up really, and that we could just go into things. That's why
but here's the thing, right? If it wasn't a friend of the show or somebody that I had known, I'd be like, well, it got my loss. Okay, fine, whatever. I don't lose sleep over it. It's because we've had interactions with Carl. He's been on the show, right? That's why it bothers me, right? It would be different if it was just some Disney show that just like, you don't love Ray because Ray's a female, so you suck, right? No, it's a friend of the show. I think we have similar beliefs. We have similar, well, at least in regards to Star Wars and likes and whatnot. Does that make sense? That's why it bothers me, and why I wanted to talk about it. And I yield the floor.
Well, and here's where we'll end it, because Carl did have one message here saying, "I'm not mad. I'm just a little disappointed. You want to talk about this with me later? My DMs are open. I'm going to start my show later, and I'd rather talk to my friends like friends and not YouTubers." And yeah, I get that. Like I said, this is all retarded. Anyways, that's on that note. Let's get on to something completely different.
Well, let bygones be bygones then.
Anywho, Duke Devil 95, it says, splitting time between this and Dermy screaming. Oh, that's right. He's getting tortured tonight. Fantastic. Jorge Lucas, hello, how's it going? Saying Thunderbolts gave me depression. What? And it said, Dan Blackbird said untrue. Jorge Lucas, nice data mining game. Are you referring to Marvel Rivals or the Sun Wukong game? And then it says, I was thinking about playing Marvel Rivals, but going to pass now. That is absolutely fair. Honestly, I've been waning on it because it's just basically, it has everything you could hate about the current state of video games. From the gacha game material stuff, the FOMO, skins and everything, microtransactions up the ass. Granted, they are all quote, as it is up to you, or they're not forced, they're optional. They're not like player buffs or anything like that to give you an extra advantage. And everything like that. So honestly, I don't blame you. The only thing is it is free to play. So I wouldn't, that's part of why it's got somewhat, but that I feel like that's a bit of an excuse to then fucking front load those games with all that sort of crap. So yeah. And you know what? As a open shot right now, I am sorry, Carl, for the way this transpired. It wasn't exactly what I was wanting. I'll probably DM later. If you're still in the chat. Dan Blackbird said you should consider the lessons we are taught in Thunderbolts about healing and moving forward. God damn it. Okay. Hitman, are you watching the chat right now? Could you say this name for me? From Duke Devil? He posted in the chat.
I can't look at the chat. I don't have access to it.
I gotta give you access.
Yeah, I don't have access. It's just the whole see. I don't know if he's still in the chat or not, but see that the whole how everything ended really just irks me, man.
And hello, Star Wars Marvel purist. How's it going, sir?
Talk to my friends, not YouTubers. Well, then,
because YouTubers are more the basically any kind of quote unquote relationship between YouTubers is much more thinned than anything. Like those you want to talk about, like
no. Okay, so are you saying that as our relationship with Brad or Duke Devil, is it just a YouTubing relationship?
No, with all my interactions with Brad and Static, like I've had a long time getting to interact with them.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't just say like that. I consider Brad a friend. Maybe he doesn't, but I do. even though, listen, and this is heartfelt, right? I consider him a friend, even though he is a Cardassian hater.
So okay,
my love extends to him, even though he propagates, manipulates, and what's the word I want to say? Oh, besmirches Cardassia Prime.
So Gajor Lel Darheel. Did I say that right?
I can't look at the chat. Goldarhill. Goldarhill. Is that what he said?
It's like I gotta give you access to this stuff so you can see it.
Spell it out. Goldarhill?
Hang
Is
on.
that what it says? Goldarhill? Just text it to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop it in the Discord chat.
Oh. Well, no, I don't know where that chat is. Oh.
It'll be on the side of all of our little screens. Oh, Duke Devil says rough translation tomorrow night, Darhill. Darhill?
Oh yeah, Goldarhill. Goldar. I don't know who he is, but if I had to guess, he was a would have been probably like one of the best goals they've ever had. Kind of like the prime minister of a country. More so influential than like a pope.
Oh.
Like Bajor. I don't know why they have a pope. That's weird, but I could tell you why they do have a pope. It's stupid, but
indeed.
Did you put it in the chat? Where is the chat? I don't see it.
You have to. So you see the little up in the top right corner. in our little window area here, there's a thing that says show chat. You click on that little bubble and it opens up the chat.
Oops.
You can figure that out. Hello, Star Wars Scran. How's it going? Saying, I care about Dan Blackroyd because of Thunderbolts. Everybody cares about Thunderbolts because of Dan Blackroyd. What do you mean? Wait, can people hear Hitman? Dan Blackroyd was asking, is Hitman even here? Yeah, he's here. Oh, please don't tell me I boomered him.
Hello?
Start saying something again?
Hello?
Okay. Am I here? Okay, good. I'm like, wait, no.
Oh, yeah.
You got me. You got me.
Golder Hill.
So you found the chat. You found the window chat?
Yeah, it just took a while.
Oh, okay. Dan Blackroyd says he has no access to anything. How can we be sure that he is here? He had access when we were using the Restream studio.
Yeah.
Star Wars Grand. Nah, can I hit? God damn it. Okay, here. Okay. Marvel Purist. It's a trap. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. So shaking it off. Moving on. Let's see.
Now I'm just in a bad mood.
Well, you kind of started it.
I did not start it. Did I send the first tweet? Oh, I did not.
Anywho,
you know we'll make it. You know will be better if we rip on Bajor.
I still need to see more about Bajor to rip on it, but they are getting there. Those Bajorans are getting rather stupid. How about that? How about we rip on Matt Walsh for a very, very L take regarding Star Wars, shall we?
This guy,
right? All right. I know this is a little old, perhaps, but it's new to us because we didn't get to it and we weren't here for a couple of weeks. But first, Briscoe says, are any of us really here? Star Wars Scran says, if he needs access to Disney Plus, he can use Dan Blackroyd's account. Dan Blackroyd says, Scran Blackroyd is the account I use. Okay. So yeah, over here on Niche Gamer, I found this article. Thought it'd be rather funny. Matt Walsh says Revenge of the Sith is, quote unquote, one of the worst movies ever made. What do you think on that alone, Hitman?
I'm done. Let's move on to another article. He's lost all credibility.
I thought this was so funny too because it was this came right off the heels after I had such an enjoyable conversation with the guys about Revenge of the Sith, and it was like then this clown drops this one. So yeah, conservative pundit at the Daily Wire, Matt Walsh, is once again attacking nerd culture. They just can't seem to get this through their heads, can they? They just have to keep doing this dumb shit. This time he's attacking George Lucas's prequels, particularly Revenge of the Sith. In a new review for the film on its 20th year anniversary return to theaters, Matt Walsh said Revenge of the Sith is one of the worst films Hollywood has ever produced. The thing he hated the most was the dialogue, and he took to his show to declare Revenge of the Sith has the worst dialogue I've ever heard in a mainstream Hollywood film. I'm pretty sure there's many, although I say many contenders, but now I'm going to draw a blank on which ones I would pick for such a thing. Oh, and he's a fucking Twilight movies. Citing the example of Padme's conversations with Anakin as being especially cringe, Walsh pivoted to criticizing George Lucas for taking his story too seriously. Interesting. The line where Anakin says, "If you're not my ally, then you're my enemy," to which Obi-Wan responds, "Only a Sith deals in absolutes," has long been criticized by neoconservatives in America as a thinly veiled attack on former President George Bush's war on terror. That goes back to, I mean, that's not, anyways. Bush was a twat anyways. At the time, National Review attacked George Lucas for, quote, wading into politics to scold patriotic Americans. In response, article to Walsh's attack on Star Wars, a fellow Daily Wire employee accused Walsh of being unfair to the film. Jacob Falash, the employee, recounted a time when Matt Walsh discovered he played a Star Wars game. Falash recalls how Matt Walsh paused and said that he was, quote, repulsed by me completely, before calling him and anyone else who would play a Star Wars game a, quote unquote, complete and utter disgrace. Matt Walsh has also more recently attacked men who watch anime. Let's face it, anime can be pretty fucked up. Calling them satanic, and has supposedly jokingly implied that men who play games are undateable. Something which conservative Glenn Beck has also seriously declared. So once again, the L takes are here for the conservative side of things. And Hitman has left me hanging here. What a dickhead. No, you know, like I said, pick out any of those, and the only reason I've seen the Twilight movies is because of riff tracks. I blame them. Or even, you know, you can look at some of the Matrix movies, have some goofy ass freaking dialogue here and there. As for like, as my perception has changed on certain things, and I've certainly picked up on more certain subtleties and everything like that. Like, I've never gotten nearly the problems that I do with a lot of earlier stuff than I've just never gotten much problems or basically just any of the stuff that they're pointing out, which I've caught on to, like, anti-patriotic stuff in other shows and movies and everything. Like, I never really got that out of Star Wars, like, just because of just the setting, what's going on. So, while I'm waiting for Hitman to get back, let's look at the chat really quick. Scran Blackroyd says, Star Wars Scran. Melissa Lord says, every take Matt Walsh has on pop culture is terrible. He's been on a massive losing streak for any, but then, like, it is, yeah, for a lot of that side of the camp, they generally do. Duke Devil says, Hitman has to show up tomorrow night. I can get so many clips of this episode, Duet. He better. Melissa Lord says, he knows politics, but not pop culture or media. Yeah, like, and I know he had his big thing with the whole what is a woman and everything. Like, cool. All right, fine. Stick to that side of things. We all have our strengths, right? And as I think
Ben Shapiro ripped on him for another take he had on Star Wars. Like, he rated the movies or something.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that.
I want to be careful, but I thought I had read something like that.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. He might have. I haven't seen everything. Huh?
You really went all out on this thing. You should know, like, if you title if the title is like the second greatest movie and of all 6 movies is the worst, you're gonna get heat. In my opinion,
Right.
Revenge is probably Revenge, in my opinion, is number 2, right? Right under Empire Strikes Back. Nobody can beat Empire. Empire is quintessentially the best. And this is just not my opinion. This is one of the greatest debated, questions. Is Empire Return better? My opinion, you don't beat Empire. I know you say you don't beat Return because of
I mean, like it is. Lucas knows how to conclude a trilogy.
But we can all agree that Revenge is number 2.
Revenge is definitely in the top listings. Yes,
definitely in the top 2.
Fine, we'll say the top 2.
No, because this is so bad. Like, you literally say that the one of the greatest movies, number 2, is the worst. I mean, the fight scene. I wish Tim or Laura were here. That fight scene, what took 2 years to film?
Oh, between Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
and they had different ideas and stuff like that too. So,
I mean, the amount of passion and storytelling that went into this, and it's also number 2. And I'll tell you, I'll prove to you why it's the second best, because the amount of time that Jar Jar was in that movie compared to the rest of the movies is far less.
Right.
So on that on its own, it's no, come on, this guy. Like, I didn't really have a lot of problems with Mount Walsh, but this is just, I don't know if this is satire or if this is like legit, like he's legitimately saying this is the worst movie. Like, bro, did you not watch 7, 8, and 9? Do you even know? It's like, people who live, people live like, bro, do you even live? Like, bro, do you even Star Wars? Like, are you just saying,
right?
Like, are your ratings so bad at date? Are the ratings
probably
so bad? Here's the thing, man. And I told you this. I used to be a Daily Wire subscriber, and I stopped. The day that I stopped subscribing to them is the day that, I came to the realization that they do in fact censor. And the example I gave was Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, where they went their separate ways, right? But
right.
She said something about the Jews, and Ben didn't like it, and because Ben's co-owner, that's the day that I stopped subscribing and being part of it. But are their ratings so bad that like they have to bring Star Wars into it? That's subjective. It's probably not, but I just like man. Like,
you're bringing up your own theories, right? You're just trying to you're theorizing. You're just trying to get some ideas going here, right? You're just popping some.
No, I unsubscribed, man. I unsubscribed from them because of the whole Candace Owens and
no. I'm not. I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting that. I'm just laughing to like
these shysters, man. They're just like, oh yeah, it was amicable. Like the next day, they're like, yeah, she doesn't work for us anymore. It was amicable, whatever.
Well, and yeah, like to Marvel Purist's point here, saying is how Revenge of the Sith takes itself too seriously. The Phantom Menace is too goofy, but the best of the best of the best. The last Star Wars movie, right? Dan Black Red. But Andor is the peak of pseudo intellectual storytelling. Which, by the way, Hitman, have you heard?
No, I don't. I don't want to know.
They still didn't address the situation of Andor's sister.
Is it done with?
Yes.
Oh my god.
They finished the second season.
Did they find the credits?
Oh, I don't know about the credits part, but I know that they did not. Okay. I saw some talk online, and they did not address the sister situation.
Hold on. I can overlook the sister situation, the credits situation. I need to know, did they address the holocron in Luthen's shop?
I'm gonna guess no.
Did they bring anything to light about Starkiller's armor?
Probably not.
Padme Amidala's headpiece?
Also probably not. I didn't watch the show. I completely just went, fuck it, I'm not dealing with this crap.
Brad. Okay, what about the
I don't even think Brad watched it.
The stones from Indiana Jones. You see the problem with this? Do you see you creating this show? Side note, we're on the scroll moment. You've created this show, and you've created two of the most the two most asked questions about this whole show, like, regardless of him eating, like how cereal is actually involved in Star Wars. That's crazy. Oops, all berries. His sister and the credits. No sister. Don't know where the credits went. And then we get into the treasure trove that is Luthen's shop, and then we have another 30 different questions that you can ask out of that scene. Oh, did Mon Mothma's daughter get married to Talon Karrde's son? Probably didn't answer that. This is the but we're complaining. I digress. We should be complaining. I didn't know asking questions was complaining.
Well, depending on who you ask, yes, that can be considered complaining. Don't ask don't ask questions. Just hang on. Wait, where is it? I got the clip. Hang on. Do I? Wait, no. Shit. Do I not? I thought I had that clip. Darn it, I don't have the clip.
You get the clip.
God dang it. Hang on. I know I got it somewhere. Oops. Ooh. I'm sorry. I've been trying to load up a lot of stuff into this stupid thing. Give me time, man. Hang on. Watch, it's like I don't have it here, but I'd have it like on the other side.
Where is it?
Hang on. Very accurate, yes. This is the problem when you have too many clips in your damn folders. How dare you?
I'm waiting.
Oh, fudge and mother blah blah. Where is it? God damn it!
Can you not find it?
Like I said, I'm very confused. I could have sworn I had it somewhere in all this crap.
I need more. I need a soundboard. I want to get Nitro.
I don't want to get Nitro either.
How much is it? We do need a soundboard. We need to step up our game.
I have a Stream Deck. I guess I could do that.
Yeah, that's boring. That's if you find it.
If I find it.
Yeah.
God dang it.
Are you just don't ask questions. Just
yeah, just the product. Get it set.
That's my favorite one, and you didn't upload it from StreamYard?
Well, that's what's confusing me, because I could have sworn I had it saved on my hard drive anyways.
You said you did. I need you to find it. Don't ask questions. Just consume product. And
that's what I'm confused. Like I said, that's what I'm confused about.
Or it was like, everything is fine. Nothing to see here.
Oh yeah, I got that one. Hang on.
Please, disperse.
That's just...
Nothing to see here, please.
Putting that in the clips. Okay. Anyways, on this topic,
I'm very disappointed.
I'm sorry.
This is how I feel.
Listen, I'm not perfect, okay?
Very, very disappointed.
And I never claimed to be.
Did you, really quick, before another scroll moment, did you go see The Karate Kid, the new one?
No, I didn't even know it came out.
Did we talk about that? Did we
checked out I think a couple of trailers or one of the trailers.
So I want to finish this really quick. Well, let's finish this, and I do want to ask the question. So let's do this.
So what on the article here?
Yeah. Is there anything else or?
I mean, again, it's well, like yeah, I got.
He needs to stick to political commentating and not anything that has to do with science fiction, because clearly, like, he is intellectually smart enough to know that making a comment like that is
here it
gonna
is.
piss a lot of people off.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I don't understand. He is smart. Well, I thought he was smart. He's smart. Like, I just don't understand, like, why. Like, everybody has their opinion. I get it, right? And from our side of the fence, it's really like we'll come out and defend it, because it's, if anybody came to me and said Revenge of the Sith is terrible, like, I question your mental health. I don't understand how. But again, these are the same people that think that The Force Awakens is the greatest thing, is far superior than A New Hope.
Yeah.
Right. There's a guy that worked with us who said 7, 8, and 9 are his trilogy.
Right.
So,
the sad new generation.
Right. But this seems very, this is why I asked you, is this satire? Is this legit a thing? Did he really say
No,
it?
He's in a new review. That's what he said.
Right. But is he bro, like, this guy, like, that's completely out of left field. Like, I don't even think I've met somebody who has said Revenge of the Sith is the worst. I don't even think I've talked to a Disney shill who has had the audacity to say that Revenge of the Sith is the worst. So is he critiquing Revenge of the Sith through the lens of Star Wars, or is he trying to critique Revenge of the Sith through the lens of his political? But even if you did, like, Star Wars is still very political.
Within its own universe, yes. Like, it has its...
Yes, with it. So, like, I would love to try to understand, like, how do you arrive to the conclusion that Revenge of the Sith is the worst?
Right.
And again, that's why I was asking, like, is it satire? Is he just being funny? Is he just trying to create, some BuzzFeed? Like, what is... He said, citing the example of Padme's conversation with Anakin as being especially cringe, Walsh pivoted to criticizing George Lucas for taking his story too seriously. Well, what do you like?
I know, like, what?
The line where Anakin says, "If you're not my ally, then you're my enemy," to which Obi-Wan responds, "Only a Sith deals in absolutes," has long been criticized by neo. Like,
it's a head scratcher, right?
Like, but again, like, this is the dude that believes in UFOs, so I don't know if, like, he's worn a aluminum foil hat for. Dude, this is puzzling. By neoconservatives in America as a thinly veiled attack on former President George Bush or on terror.
Baffling, isn't it?
Who wrote this? Is it like this is him saying that these are his quotes?
Some of it's from quotes, and then some of this has just been from over time with the way things have been looked at in regards to Star Wars and everything like that.
I bet you, and the Daily Wire employee accused Walsh, I bet you that's Ben Shapiro. Maybe
no,
Ben
by Jacob. It was by Jacob Fallish. I believe.
No, I was hoping it was Ben. Where's Ben? Why, like, Ben? Critiqued Matt Walsh for believing in UFOs. Like, I don't know if you had followed the Daily, like.
No, I didn't see any of that stuff
about, like, UFOs. And Ben's like, I don't know if he's being funny or not, but, like, the dude believes in UFOs.
Right. I mean, hey, everybody's got their thing.
What is it?
This was an opinion article on Daily Wire. I meant to be looking at it on the side of things.
Oh, you're good. Matt Walsh is a man of many talents, a popular podcaster, a notable documentarian, a feared fisherman, and surprisingly good Mortal Kombat player. There's no persistent trait, however. There's one persistent trait, however. That
Wait, he's a good Mortal Kombat player, but he's saying video if guys that play video games are undateable.
Yeah,
I'm confused. Wait, I'm confused. Then is this a joke article? Like, what the hell?
That's why I asked you. Like, is this all for?
Well, at least this guy's an opinion piece. So by this Jacob Fallish or whatever.
Yeah, it would be in response to, I would assume, Matt Walsh's comment about Revenge of the Sith. There's one persistent trait, however, that must be addressed: his passionate hatred of Star Wars. I discovered Walsh's animosity for Star Wars in May of 2023 while listening to his show. After hearing I played a recently released Star Wars game, he looked dead into the camera and said, repulsed by me completely, and then continued to call me a complete and utter disgrace. Harsh. This cannot be real. This cannot be real.
What?
There's no way.
Hang on. Is there like something at the bottom? Like, I don't want to go through the second article. No. Like, I see nothing about it being like, it's just an opinion piece. It's not like a satire piece. So yeah, this is all what the guy's saying. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think it's just another big L take from freaking Matt Walsh. Not surprising.
I'm skeptical.
Why? Why would you be skeptical?
Because that is an audacious thing to say. Like, yes, everybody has their opinion, but like, I have in my 30 plus years of being a Star Wars fan, and all the years since Revenge of the Sith has come out, I've never met somebody that has just flat out said it's the worst. Like, the prequels got hate, right? But and I don't know if this is an accurate statement, but I feel like once Revenge of the Sith came around, I don't know were they still getting as much hate as they were during Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones?
I don't know. I wasn't really following a lot of the media at the time to find out. And anybody within the circles I was in with, we didn't, we had our criticisms, but that's like with anything.
Marvel Pure still in the chat? Can you see who's in the chat? Is Marvel Pure still in the chat?
I think he is, yeah.
I'd like to ask him if he knew if the prequels were still getting hate around the time that Revenge of the Sith.
I think it might have been within the media, yeah, but like I said, not. I can only speak to like my experience with it. It was like with us, no, not really. And we all thought that Revenge of the Sith was the best one.
I guess, I don't know. I mean, if you're critiquing Star Wars through the lens of Star Wars, then I would assume you should, right? But if you're critiquing Star Wars from a different type of lens, then maybe you can arrive at the conclusion that no, because he's comparing it. He says it's the worst Star Wars movie, so therefore he has to be comparing it to other Star Wars movies,
right?
Bro, I don't know.
Jorge Lucas here is saying Revenge of the Sith was almost universally loved. Melissa Lord says, yes, the media was hating on the PT, but the fans, for the most part, liked them. So there you go.
Okay. So the media that was hating, but not necessarily the fans?
Right.
Okay. I don't know. Great. Well, like, what are your thoughts? You think it's real? Of course you think it's real, because if it wasn't real, you wouldn't have brought it up.
Right.
It's not satire. But like, bruh, I don't know. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, I'm stumped. I'm dumbfounded right now.
Melissa Lord says that she was 25 when Sith came out. She remembers. Marvel Pure says nobody in my circles even hated the prequels. Sure, someone at comic shop here or there, Definitely was a critic thing. I've never heard Revenge of the Sith being called the worst Star Wars movie. Maybe J.I. Jacob. I think even that moron had it above other movies.
Yeah. So does that make sense as to why I'm questioning it? Like and maybe it's just because we're in our own circles.
Yeah, we're in our own little bubble, as it were.
But here's the thing: I'm telling you, personal experience. I'm not making this up. I have talked to people who love Disney Star Wars, and they have not said it's the worst. So this is just a terrible show today. Like I got mad at the beginning of the show. I'm mad now. What else do you have for us?
I got some stuff. Yeah,
I'm just joking. I'm not. But does this not puzzle you?
It's a little baffling, but like it is. Everybody, like you said, either during the start of this or before we started, everybody's entitled to their opinions, and not everybody's going to share our same viewpoints and stuff like that. So
okay. Let's just before we let's just do this. Try to find 3 things wrong with Revenge of the Sith.
What's that?
Try to find 3 things that are like bad about Revenge of the Sith. I dare you to find anything that's wrong with that movie. I dare you.
I mean, I spent 4 hours talking nothing but praise for that movie, so I can't.
Well, I'm just asking.
No,
if it's the worst, I dare you.
Well, like it is from all.
all
from a certain point of view.
Somebody's like, "Well, Yoda lost and he didn't beat Palpatine." You think Yoda was going to kill Palpatine right there?
No.
No, because I'm just saying, find something wrong with it. I challenge anybody.
I think
apparently not all. Well, he's probably got a whole myriad of things that are wrong with it. Apparently. What do you think George is? Do you think George has? Do you think he has social media? Do you think he looks at this stuff, or do you think he's just completely there's nothing I can do, so I'm just gonna let this poor man. Is he still in the United States? Is he in camp? Where is he at?
Because
if I was him, send me to an island. I'd buy my own island. Richard Branson has his island. I'd go buy 2 of them. $4 billion. I'd live there. I'd be furious. I'd probably be more disappointed than anything. I don't know what I would be, man. That's crazy to I mean, yeah, everybody's a critic in their own sense, but there's been such an overwhelming love of Star Wars, no different than Brad was talking about. It was the fans that kept Star Trek going. It's I don't know. It's crazy. Maybe he was smoking weed when he did that. I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah, I got nothing more to add to all this goofiness. Person. Huh?
It's just the Twilight Zone.
It's a certain zone for sure. Let me get through some of this chat. Let's see. Melissa Lord had said
you can even, I don't know if you can say out of all 6, which are the only Star Wars movies, because 7, 8, 9 aren't, they're not Star Wars. I don't know if you can even say any of them are, I don't know if I'd say bad. I mean, they have issues for sure, but I don't know if I'd even say any of them are bad or terrible or even the worst. I would rank them, but even in my ranking of them, I don't talk crap on any of them. Oh, Jar Jar, but that's the exception to the rule, right?
Oh, those desires to have the comedy characters.
Yeah, like in like sitting down just before we get to the chat, like I'm replaying A New Hope, Empire, and Revenge. I'm sorry, Return. And even within those three, there's no other. I don't think I would want anything other than what I got. I don't think anything could have been done. I mean, I don't know if that's a bold statement, but like they're masterpieces.
I can't argue with it.
I mean, you half-witted, scruffy-looking nerve herder. Like, it's fantastic. Let me get this walking carpet out of my way. Like, iconic. Luke kissed his sister without even knowing. Like,
Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
like, well, I don't see how. Man, that's almost sad. This is really sad to hear somebody say that, and especially somebody who I thought at least had half a brain. All right, get this chat. I'm done.
All right.
I yield the floor.
Okay. Melissa Lord said the media made a big deal out of some people's complaints. Fans love this movie. Hello, Knights of Undercover. How's it going? People who said the prequels were bad news was fake news. Agreed. Marvel Purist says maybe Star Wars Santa. Huh. Jorge Lucas, the people hating on the prequels had little to say about Luke drinking green milk from the alien milkers. That's true. Melissa Lord says dumbasses like Walsh confuse smart people. they say stuff that don't make sense, like here. Hence all the confusion going on. Jorge Lucas says George distanced himself from social media very early on. Smart man. Sometimes I wish I didn't partake in social media. Marvel Purist says Yoda shouldn't have used a lightsaber. Funny, my theater erupted in cheers when he did in 2002. Dude, like that. And you're talking about for like what, Attack of the Clones? Like that was the big talking point of that movie from what I heard when people came back, was like, holy shit, Yoda busted out the lightsaber and started kicking some ass. And then even then it was like you said with Revenge of the Sith as well. Yeah, he busted out the lightsaber and started kicking some ass. Couldn't go wrong. Dan Blackray says, you just don't understand the level George and I were working on when we created the saga. Jar Jar was imperative to everything. I mean, he was the linchpin to helping get Palpatine into power. I mean, without him, what else? What would have happened? We don't know. That story wasn't written, but we got the story. Jar Jar made the right choice. That's what counts. Okay, chat is caught up with. Hope everyone's enjoying their time so far. Okay, I'm just gonna, let's see, look for, oh good, Hitman's back.
I'm here. Oh.
Okay, so let's kind of, thanks to Marvel Purist on this one. He, I believe, shared it either in one of the DM groups or I know I grabbed it today from his Discord. This is a Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic prologue fan film, which I think will be kind of interesting to check out. How about you? What say you, Hitman? Are you interested in checking this out?
Oh yeah.
All right. So this the prologue to Studio 70's next film, Knights of the Old Republic, is a beloved Star Wars tale about a band of misfits who must escape a blockaded world. Originally a video game by BioWare and Lucasfilm, Studio 70 is the first production company to bring Knights of the Old Republic to life in live-action adaptation. The full movie will release in May 2026, so next year. Interesting. Okay. Let me make sure... the audio. There we go. Chat should be able to hear everything. All right. And Hitman, you can see it in Discord.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Here we go. Oh, it's 11 minutes. Wow.
Oh, all right.
Captain, we've arrived at the Taurus system. Unlocked vessel bearing 225 degrees. Focus off. That's not a vessel. It's a fleet. Sith intervention ship. Battle stations, raise shields. Their flagship is training guns. Hard to port. Return fire. Aye, Captain. Cutting up on position. All for the command. Aye, Captain. Bidding. This is the Endar Spire. We've been ambushed.
Oh, so it is the Endar Spire. And I gotta say, this is already, I mean, some of this stuff is already looking pretty impressive. Oh, that looks like it might be just like clipped out from a game almost. That alarm sound is just classic.
Who are you? Trask Olgo. Nice, my name. We've been ambushed by a Sith battle fleet. The Endar Spire's under attack. Endar Spire? Focus. They disabled the port engine. We need to get it back online. Or we can hit the escape pods.
We swore an oath to defend the Republic. Time to make good on it.
Even when it gets us killed?
Especially when.
You're really cool with that.
Yes.
The Sith have boarded the Endar Spire. Prepare for close quarter combat.
I don't really agree with the saying that cool about this. I would have said okay or something like that, but that's just maybe me nitpicking. What say you, Hitman?
Yeah, cool doesn't seem like a Star Wars term.
Change of plans. What am I supposed to do with this? That.
Look, you're gonna be okay. I'll make sure of it, right?
Right.
I can't wait to see Darth Brandon.
What's that?
Is it Darth Bandon or Brandon? Who is it? Darth Bandon?
Bandon?
Bandon, I think.
Yeah. Is it just me or does he kind of look like Ted from Bill and Ted? Alex Winter.
It is Ted.
Or wait, Bill. I forget which. Sometimes I get their two names mixed up.
Interdimensional travel.
One thing I would like, the Rhodian's mask looked a little too big on the guy on the neck. Hang on, let me see if I can get a good spot to it. I don't know if you saw that at all.
Still better than anything Andor created.
Oh, I don't. Oh, well, maybe I'm just kind of like
no, it looks good.
Yeah, never mind. I take back what I said.
I mean, he's been lifting people.
He's got big, broad shoulders.
Yeah, it's been bored.
Oh, and he was gonna appear in the next scene anyways. Uh-oh.
Thanos.
All crew, they've taken the bridge. Abandoned ship. Repeat.
That's supposed to be. Oh, I guess that's supposed to be Karth.
I will tell you this: the armor, the Sith armor, is by far, bar none, my favorite.
One of your favorite ones.
Oh yeah, not Stormtrooper per se, but you know what I mean. The Sith armor is just beautifully constructed.
Oh, I accidentally muted myself. Don't know when I did that. Oh! And we got Bastila.
You're welcome.
I was saving them for you.
Status report.
Yeah, let's check the console. What's your plan, Commander?
I'm open to suggestions.
Abandon ship. Now. Hop in.
As leading officer, I must remain until all under my command.
Cool story. Get in the pod.
You really think just because you're
Yeah.
older than me that you're allowed?
Yeah, I'm not really
Cool
buying
story,
this.
man.
And Karth was a little more. I feel like this is conflicting a little bit with his character. Like, I think he would have been a little more serious about this. Like, I know he could kind of talk some shit, but like he's kind of not by the books really, but he was definitely like mission focused for sure. Like, and that this is kind of gets to almost a little bit of that Marvel-ish writing, almost just a little. And when they showed the Sith activating his lightsaber, that sounded too much like some of the newer sounds that they use, and not the classic like hiss sound that usually would happen with the lightsabers.
You're too important.
Save the crew.
Go!
Okay, who's left?
I had him in my sights, you know. I just figured you had him, so I didn't want to mess up.
Very Marvel humor.
Look, shoot.
Yeah, I'm getting that feeling too.
Say it back to me. Point, look, shoot. I did it.
You three, we swing out together. You provide
Like,
suppressive
did they?
fire.
Let me pause it.
Yeah.
Did whoever create this? They play the game at all? Because this is like not how the. I mean,
Yeah, I'm kind of missing that point too.
Marth was serious. The Trask, who was the guy that helps you in the beginning of the game, he was very serious. He did have kind of the the drill sergeant type,
Yeah.
voice. Your character was neutral. There was no like.
Well,
I mean,
and
yes,
like,
you had
so here's the thing: you would start as either a soldier,
Scoundrel?
scout, or scout. So soldier, scout, or scoundrel.
Right.
Neither of those three, to me, is being portrayed right here. In my opinion, like,
yeah,
even a scoundrel, like, I mean, Han Solo is kind of the definitive scoundrel, right? He was proficient, like he knew his stuff, and like, yes, when you're on the Ender Spire, you don't your character's meant to be the whole fish out of water sort of thing where you don't know what's going on, but you aren't seen as being incompetent or unable to defend yourself or anything like that. So this is just kind of
you're very neutral. You're very like
you're
unemotional
almost like this just kind of comes off as like padding. Like they're just trying to pad this out a little bit just to kind of make this a little bit longer but like it doesn't feel necessary, and it just kind of is making Revan pre getting his memories back look a bit like a dingus, which I'm like, that wasn't quite the character that was going on.
Counting or are you counting? I'm counting. Okay, continue. Swing out and unload. Then.
Can I actually make a suggestion?
What?
So there's a crate over there that's magnetically sealed. If we get the angle just right, then
Just cover me.
Oh,
Mute operator tried is magnetically sealed.
You never seen combat?
Never.
I find that hard to believe.
Run.
Wait, yeah, I thought the one wasn't it, he fought the bald-headed bandit guy or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm? They DEI'd him. What the fuck? What was it Darth? Yeah, Bandon. Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't even give him a goatee.
Which here we go. Like, yeah, this was the guy. They DAI'd his ass. Fucking figures can't even stay honorable or adapt faithfully from a fucking video game. Why am I not surprised?
Why did he do that?
This is Carthanazi. Been tracking your position through the life support system. You're the last surviving crew member of the Ender Spire.
Yeah, I figured.
Look, I can't wait for you much longer. You have to get to the escape pods.
Look, whoever you are, that's not gonna happen. Thanks for the offer.
You're a soldier, aren't you?
No! I'm just an engineer!
Wasn't even an option.
Look, I saw you were with someone else, but he isn't around anymore. His death gives you a chance, so don't spit on his grave.
Like he didn't know who Trask was. What is going on here? He's like,
no, well, you can ask the question of like, who are you and stuff like that. Like you can start, you have the option to ask him, like, who are you?
The guy that you were with. Like he didn't know it was Trask.
Yeah, you could ask him if, like, who are you and stuff once you wake up.
What do I do?
Grab the blaster.
All right. Where to?
The open door. Watch out, it's in the head.
I noticed. What now?
Stay covert. Maneuver to the...
What does that even mean?
Tiptoe.
Okay, you could have just said that. Tiptoe. Tiptoe.
What are you waiting for?
I could have sworn for a second there, it almost looked like one of the Sith troopers was turning around to see him.
Am I close?
Yes, but be careful. There's a whole squad of Sith troopers on the other side of that door. You need to find some way to thin their numbers.
So no tiptoeing?
You could use computer spikes to slice into the terminal and use the Ender Spider security systems. Or what?
I mean, if I had the security spikes and repair ability, I certainly did the same thing.
Thanks for all that.
You did really good, kid.
Cool. I set the ship to self-destruct, so...
What?
I'll be damned, they blew up a practical model.
We're not out of it yet.
Right. Gotta get down to the planet and call for aid.
We find Bastila.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Who's Bastila?
You're funny.
Thanks.
What's your name anyway?
Okay. Try that again, Hitman. Doesn't sound like you were coming through on your microphone. Oh, there you go.
I don't like it.
I can say that, like I said, neat. They blew up a practical model of the Endar Spire. Some of the effects weren't bad. It was kind of a little, you could really tell how much green screen it was. Hopefully with this being kind of a prologue, maybe they'll go back and touch things up with the final product. But the dialogue and acting, I think, was definitely some of the bigger glaring problems right there, like we already pointed out. With the use of like cool, like that steps out of, that feels like it steps a little out of Star Wars for me. I know, like, Han Solo has said things like they can go to hell, but like, I don't know, because I'm pretty sure they have terminology too for things that are neat and cool and stuff like that. But otherwise, the performance of Revan felt off to me, just because of the professions you can pick, and like you said, there isn't an engineer class that you can pick. I know you can pick certain things with the whole, like, the hacking and stuff like that, but it's not an independent skill. So that felt a little weird to hear. You know, otherwise they were trying to put something together there. It was kind of interesting, kind of neat. But yeah, kind of
I'll be the black pill of the show. I don't like it, and I'll tell you why I don't like it, because how do you screw this up? You had the game,
right?
You knew how you had the game. You had, yes, you were able to choose from a list of responses, but the characters' responses, I guess, mainly kind of, I mean, they did change with, like, slightly with what you said, but like, you knew how Karth was portrayed, you know how Revan was portrayed, you know how Trask was portrayed, you know how, like, who was Darth Band? Like, come on guys, Darth Bannon, like, you're gonna do that, like, Bastila, like, to your point, you have the acting, but it's just Marvel humor. There was, like, no, can we just please have a show? Like, yes, was there humor in Star Wars? Yes, but not like this cringe level stuff. Come on.
Yeah, like
I'm just so mad is because it's my favorite game. It is by far it's top 2 games: Knights of the Old Republic and Jedi Outcast. Those are our 2 top 2. I could play Knights of the Old Republic on repeat and not get tired of it.
Oh, absolutely.
So to see a beloved, and you should be equally mad because you told me that they botched the book.
Oh, the Revan
Watching
book.
this- yeah, so watching this, you should be like,
well, this I don't think the Revan book is an official part of the property. This is just some fans getting together to try and put together a movie and stuff like that. Like that's why I'm being a little forgiving. So, you know, but like I said, yeah, they swapped
the Sith code.
They swapped abandon that was, and they mischaracterized even Karth, and I don't like Karth, but at least give him his proper, you know, adaptation as need be. Because like you said, they had the game, they had everything right there. So what? Like what?
You continue this, and they'll probably make Candace a pacifist.
Oh God, no. I don't think that would ever be the case, but
yeah. Watch.
But I mean, what, like anything else, or are you just like firmly like, no, I hate this, all of it. It was all just not good. You're just in the full camp of not good.
Yeah. Well, the walls look pretty accurate. Like the inside the Endar Spire looked pretty good.
Absolutely. Like I said, like some of it looked really good. I hope that they can kind of make it look a little more blended better with the actors and the background, much like Luke, not to Lucas's levels, but like, huh? What was that?
Like the Darth Bandit, he didn't even look like the little finger pointing thing. Like, come on, you don't even look Sith right there, dude. Come on.
I was not getting that Sith feeling. No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. I'm just trying to look at it fairly. It's a passion project, probably. So. So yeah, big thumbs down from Hitman.
No, you have to listen. You got to be critical. You got to be critical, because if you're gonna do something so, I don't know what the word, so ballsy as to make a fan fiction film, or a reenacting, if you will, of one of the greatest games of all time within Lucas Arts. You need to come to the table prepared, and it needs to be accurate. And I just cannot stand Loki level Marvel humor.
Right. I do agree with you. That was definitely something that was very off-putting.
And whoever made this needs to be off-putting, because they probably ate a lot of pudding making this. You made Trask look like an idiot. You made Revan look like a
I don't think they made Trask look like an idiot. I think they made Revan. I think they made Revan look like an idiot.
No, Trask looked like a boob. This is what we're gonna do. Go restart Knights of the Old Republic on your Wednesday streams and play it through. Just play the first opening scene, first 20 minutes of the game. get to Endor, or get to a Terrace, and then this is what we're gonna do. Okay, Wednesday when you're off, I want you to play the first 25 minutes of Knights of the Old Republic. Get to Terrace.
Right, get down to Terrace,
and then Saturday we're gonna come back, and then I want you to and then we're gonna watch it again, not all the way through, but we're gonna watch it through, and then we'll see if your opinion has changed. But Wednesday you have to play the first 20 minutes through the whole scene of him on the Endar Spire, meeting Karth, Darth Bandon, fighting Trask, all of it, and then come tell me if your opinion has remained the same. Then I'll just still say you're crazy, but I want you to do that. You do it and then I do it because it's been a while since I've played, and so let's have a little memory refresh.
Okay, that sounds like a plan then. Sounds like a plan.
Because but I don't need a refresh because I remember the game. I played it a lot.
Oh well, not everything can be a winner.
Hey, listen, I told you the inside of the Indar Spire looked accurate. I did enjoy it.
The inside,
And
the
alarm.
interior, the alarm, the costuming looked good.
Not all is lost. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to be I'm not trying to be cynical. I'm just, I've given it some props.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Let's see. Jorge Lucas had said Jar Jar is the key to all this. Dan Blackray says you still haven't talked about Thunderbolts.
Let's talk about Thunderbolts.
Oh wow.
Let's talk about Thunderbolts because I don't know if you didn't respond to my invitation because we were supposed to go see it together.
What?
But yeah, we were going to do the show. We were going to go. We talked about we were actually going to go and watch it and then do kind of a live stream while we watched the movie from the. You don't remember this?
No, I
Inside the
don't.
No,
No.
you should ask Chief, sir. I went to go see it.
Okay. All right. So lay it out for us, brother.
Well, you don't have an article you want to.
No, let's talk about let's get your review of Thunderbolts.
I as a DC guy, right?
Okay.
As a DC
guy,
I will say that I thought I enjoyed it. I don't I mean there's towards the end of the movie I was like, oh, it's kind of like anticlimactic, but kind of doing some research. Well, I didn't do research. I talked to a buddy of mine who's very, very much in the Marvel sphere, and said the Sentry and the Void were pretty accurate.
What's
the word?
Go on.
I'm trying to think what not rendition, but I didn't have I thought it was fine. I was expecting when I saw the trailer, I was like, I can't do this Marvel humor. But there's there's some.
But
it
took you by surprise, and now
it did.
Okay.
I'll
right.
tell you this, all right? It's like there's a scene between Yelena, and I don't know if you're gonna watch it, but there's a scene between Yelena and the Guardian, and obviously that they're father and daughter, and she's having this moment where she just wanted it, like she just doesn't know what to do in life, and she just wanted a dad. And I was like, well, man, and the Red Guardian is like, well, I didn't think you wanted me as a father, and I thought that was kind of touching. I was like, well, she's going through all, she's trying to fill that void of not having a dad with this, the assassin type, job. And I just there's points in it where I was like, I could see that, I could appreciate it. I'm not
right
saying it was the best movie I ever saw, but I thought that was pretty touching. And then the super they were actually trying to there's a part of the movie where they're actually trying to save people instead of just trying to go after the bad guy, which this most movies is oh well, they're just focused on killing the bad guy and they don't really care about the citizens, if you will. But there's a part where Red Guardian he saves a little girl that's about to die from piece of concrete falling on her. And then the Void, it just touches on some more of a mental health stuff, which I thought was kind of an interesting take. It's not like a serum. It's not he's very much Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde personality, but the stint of his mental health issues come from the fact of him growing up. And there's a scene where when he's in the Void, they're in a room, but the room you can hear his mom and dad fight, and then his dad beating his what you would assume is his family, and he's like, this is the safest room there is. And in that room, he's reliving all the abuse
you know,
Okay.
from his childhood and whatnot. And so,
Right.
listen, I'll be the first to tell you, like, I will rip on Marvel because, you know, that healthy, you know,
The
rivalry
rival,
between DC
yeah.
and Marvel. But
Right. I
I thought
get
it was
you.
interesting. Instead of a serum making you, you know, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, yes, he took the serum, which was supposed to be like a
Super soldier sort of
mutated,
thing.
yeah, but the Void and Sentry, like the Void was created, from my understanding, through that mental illness. And I don't know if that's comic canon, but at least in the show, in the movie, that his dark side comes from all
All
his
that trauma and
growing up,
everything.
all that lack of self-worth,
Mhm.
not thinking he can help anybody, the abuse of him growing up, and it has contributed to kind of his dark side. So I thought that was an interesting take, you know. And of course, you get Bucky, and you know, yeah, he had some screen time, but they focused on some of these other characters that aren't necessarily on the same mantle as the Avengers, if you will. So I liked it, um, for the simple fact that like there are real life things that you could see in that movie, and I hope people like, I'm not woke, I'm not bending the knee, I'm not saying that, but I can appreciate, because there are people out there that
You're
didn't
just
grow up
being
with a dad.
fair and honest, right?
No, I am, but there are people that grew up without a dad, or maybe they did have a dad, and the dad didn't think, you know. I mean, that's very real life stuff that you can relate with. You know, girl wants
Right.
a dad, but maybe the dad didn't think he was good enough, and he didn't think their daughter like, that's real life stuff, right? I can appreciate that, right? And there's no joking there, right? So a typical like Marvel movie, you know, you'd have like a serious moment, and then like, you know, there'd be, you know, a joke would follow, or you know, the mood would kind of change. But that was for that whole scene, like it was fairly serious.
Yeah.
There was no like cut scene to where it was, um, something laughable happen. Like you could just feel kind of like, no, he loves Yelena, and he wants her to stay because of his love, and he understands and realizes and owns the fact that he wasn't a good dad, and he owns his faults. And at the end of the end, they have just share a moment of just hugging each other, and I was like, like, good on it. I could appreciate it. So that's in a nutshell, like, there's an evil version of, I guess, a female version of, oh gosh, Nick Fury, I guess. I wish they would have touched more on the serum itself, because, like, like Captain America, they touched on that, and it's supposed to
Yeah.
be, that. But even that, and then there's, I guess, a new Captain America, this
John Walker,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, like, they touched on, like, his dark side, right? He was not a good dad. There's a scene where he has these, because when Bob Sentry, when he gets around people, then they see, I guess, like, kind of like
Their regrets, their
well,
inner
yeah, like,
turmoil.
turmoil and trauma from past. And there's a scene where, because John Walker, military guy, multiple deployments, but when Bob is near him, it kind of flashbacks to where he is in the room, his baby's in the crib, and he's on his phone, and he's ignoring the baby, and then his wife comes in and says, "John, what are you doing? The baby's crying." He's like, "Oh, he's fine. I'm here. I'm here, aren't I?" And then she ends up walking out of the room, and then he sees himself, like, John Walker present in that room, in it's like out of body experience, right? So him in the moment sees himself in the past moment, if that kind of makes sense. And
I
so,
think so,
but
yeah.
it painted the picture of possible PTSD, right?
Right.
Military, and comes back, but that's very real. You hear
Oh
about that
yeah,
stuff. You
the
hear about
stories
soldiers
are,
coming back. Yeah.
and in that, wasn't that part of a big part of the, oh god, what was the Clint Eastwood film he did? Was that American Sniper or?
Well, yeah, American Sniper.
Yeah. So yeah, people touched on that subject a bit. Well, no, quite a bit, but that's at least one that immediately came to mind. That's not super recent at this point, but somewhat.
So,
but I don't watch a lot of movies, so.
Right. So when I say, like, I come at it from an authoritative perspective, I'm not coming at it from a
a perspective of Marvel knowledge, because I will be the first to admit I don't have
Well, and that does
Marvel
give
knowledge.
you that does give you a bit of a different perspective on it, because the way you will look at it is like, this is all fresh content to you, and sometimes for some people that's the problem when things are poorly adapted, is that then people that are being introduced to certain characters aren't getting the proper introduction to a character, to their actual characterization, look, and stuff like that. So that is because like it is, I remember I kind of had a back and forth with a coworker about Guardians of the Galaxy. I was like, dude, I enjoyed the shit out of it, and he had his problems with it because of, you know, the way not Star-Lord, it was Star-Lord's basically adoptive dad.
Zeus or the god Eno or Yontu.
Yontu.
Michael Rooker.
I was trying to remember the actor's name, Michael Rooker. So the guy, I remember he had a problem with because of the initial, who the actual original Guardians were supposed to be originally, and this is like more the updated version. So I think with the movies, so and I think also just like the way the whole like Arrow, I forget the specifics, but I know he just had certain problems with the movie, and I was like, oh, and this is why like I understand people that like even though like I can walk into something and go, well, I enjoyed it, but if somebody's like, dude, no, there's a lot of problems, here's, you know, A, B, and C, why, I'm like, okay, I get that. So, you know, this is why it's kind of funny when people get so huffy about, oh, why are you trying to make it like it's just a different interpretation, man. Like, no, like I get when people are agitated, annoyed, or pissed off when things are poorly adapted, because they want to see things, especially with comic panels being designed basically like a storyboard. How is that not then just translated onto film? So I can get that, but like it is for yourself, you are coming at it from a different perspective where maybe, I don't know what Marvel purists' thoughts were on the movie, but I know for like, some people that are diehard fans, like they could have that alternative viewpoint.
Yeah. And like I said, if Marvel purists were to, you know, DM me and or, you know, say like, hey, no, like this is completely contrary to the actual characters and whatnot, then you know, I would say, okay, like I understand, you know, because as a guy, you know, I think very similar to Marvel purists, like I want the established character. I don't want a rendition of that character. I want the pure, well, like his name, Star Wars Marvel purist. I want the pure form of that. And so I'm saying that I enjoyed the movie from the perspective of not knowing the characters and how they obviously act or whatnot, because I don't know them, but I like the movie because it touched on some of these, for lack of a better term, heartwarming or, you know, overwhelming issues, I guess, if you will, and how they responded to those issues. At the very end, I will say this: the Void, you know, Sentry Bob is trying to fight the Void, and he's in, you know, basically trying to beat him to death, and then his friends are like, the Void like traps them, basically kind of like Apocalypse type style, like pins them to a wall, and the Void wants him to keep doing it, and so Yelena breaks free, and basically they all end up trying to hug Bob and pull him back and tell him that he's not alone, and that's how he ends up overcoming the Void, if you will, right?
Yeah.
The Void trying to go him, and the whole premise, I from my understanding, and it's not it's not my understanding, it's someone who brought it up, was like, you can't beat your emotions, you can't defeat your emotions, how you feel. And that was kind of like, and I don't know, he kind of explained it weird. It was like Sentry was beating the Void, and it was a representation of him trying to beat his feelings and emotions and all of his trauma, and you can't do that. I don't know if that's true. Don't know if it's accurate. That's just what my buddy at work told me last night, that he thought that's how he interpreted it. But nonetheless, you see that he's not alone. So he felt alone. He felt worthless, and then at the, you know, he didn't think he had any friends. And then his friends, Yelena and the new, you know, the Thunderbolts, if you will, they all break free and basically are there with him, you know.
Right.
So I thought that was, you know, I like that, because how many of us grow up and think those of us who were bullied thought we were alone and nobody cared, and we didn't think that anybody wanted to be our friends, and then we go through something traumatic, and then we see our friends are there. Like it's just that's why I liked it. So be clear, I know nothing about the characters. I liked it solely for those
for what was
specific things. And
presented to you.
Yeah, but I would love Marvel purists if he's in the chat or DM me. I like to understand if they portrayed those characters correctly. Because if they didn't, then I will.
I believe there was a couple of characters that their sex was changed, but
okay. Taskmaster maybe.
Taskmaster was one. I think there was a second character where they did a swap. But otherwise, that's the two that I heard about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Huh.
But hey, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It was just Well, it was a.
Well, now that you've seen it, maybe I will have to kind of check around and take a peek at it myself.
Yeah, and you may watch me bro, like, hey, man, this.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Well, according to Dan Blackroyd saying Hitman has redeemed himself from his unenthusiastic build-up to Thunderbolts, aka the new Avengers. So
that whole thing, I don't know if that was a marketing ploy. Like, I've never seen a movie.
I think they going into the whole Doctor Doom thing. I believe it's supposed to be yes, because you saw the post-credits scene, right?
Yeah,
with the Fantastic Four ship and everything. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, you have won your place again, sir. Congratulations.
Let's go.
All right, let me get to some of the chat that I missed before. Marvel Purist has said, like I said when I posted it, and this is in regards to the KOTOR fan film we just watched. Like I said when I posted it, a little goofy for me. The quality is pretty good though. It's from the heart and doesn't involve Disney studios, editors, VFX people, etc. LOL. So there is that, and we absolutely gave that side to it for sure. We weren't aware that those sort of people weren't involved, and that's good. And we did give them credit of it's it's a fan project, so they're passionate and everything. It's just just some problems. Marvel Purist said that's what someone in my Discord said too, J Hitman, to which point I don't recall. I should have been keeping closer attention to chat. I'm sorry, chat. And hello, Angelina Sereni. I butchered that. I'm sorry, but I did. Huh?
I'm sorry. What was his response to Discord?
I don't know. He said that's what someone in my Discord said too, J Hitman.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
And Angelina had said, hello, I have a question for you. Do you think Keanu Reeves would play a great Darth Revan?
No.
We've kind of talked about this before. No. And I don't know if you're still in the chat, Angelina. Sorry, I'm just now getting to this, but no.
Gary Oldman would.
I think he's a little too old at this point. And unfortunately, the only other person that I would think would be a good actor for the role is Carl. No, I was going to say Carl Urban, but again, he's getting a little too up there for portraying Revan, I think, at this point. But that'd be my better choice than Keanu. Keanu, listen, like, he can do certain things just fine.
You mean to tell me you don't think Miles Teller would play a good Revan?
Who?
Miles Teller.
I don't know who that is.
Maverick. He's in the Maverick movie, Top Gun 2.
Oh, was he?
Rooster. No, I'm just being facetious. No, I don't think. No, I don't want them to make a. Here's the thing, I don't want them to make a movie. And I'll tell you why. Because we just and that's a fan movie. It's fan fiction. I get it, but they couldn't even get Revan right.
No.
So if a fan can't get Revan right, you think the box office is going to get the freaking? You think the Hollywood's going to get it right? No, absolutely not. Bye.
There you have it.
But who would play a good Trask though? What was the guy? Oh man, I who was that guy? Filibuster. I gotta figure out who this guy was.
I was gonna say the only guy that immediately came to mind was the dude that played the military guy in Avatar. The one with all the big blue people running around. So he was like he became like the main antagonist. Like he kind of has the look. He could have maybe played that role.
Maybe.
I can go to chat. Dan Blackred said, I don't remember this episode of Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds? You meant Thunder? Now I'm confused. Dan Blackred said, fan films of all kinds should be ignored. I think it's fun to check some of them out here and there to see what projects are going on, and it beats some of the mainline trash sometimes. But this one, yeah, it wasn't great. Dan Blackred said Loki wasn't in it. See, Angelina had said, Fracture Filter, I have a question for you both. She was reiterating the Keanu Reeves Darth Revan because I missed it earlier. Much apologize for that. I'm sorry. Dan Blackbird says, you have no excuse now, Fractured. I didn't mean to. Melissa Lord says, I have a copy. LOL. It's typical girl boss Marvel, but there were some interesting things, but overall it's below average. 4 out of 10. Melissa Lord coming in heavy.
For Thunderbolts?
For Thunderbolts, yeah. Dan Blackroyd said Hitman gets it. He knows peak cinema. Marvel Purist had said they claim the director for Thunderbolts will direct the X-Men. Not a good choice for Marvel's number 2 behind Spider-Man. Spider-Man and X-Men are Marvel's Batman and Superman. Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. And sadly, look at how they've handled Spider-Man. Jesus. Marvel Pure said, same Melissa, 4 out of 10. I think Grizzy gave it the same. Oh, so people are saying 4 out of 10s. Hitman's an outlier here. Hitman's an outlier. He's looking at it differently.
Well, you have to also understand, I don't know a lot about Marvel.
And that's fine. That's fine.
No. I'm not mad at that. I'm just saying, like, my whole thing is like, I liked it for just kind of those different issues, I guess, if you will. I thought, yeah. So, I mean, let's be honest. The whole limo scene. I mean, we could do without the limo scene and the drink. I mean, all the Guardian wanted to do was drink, which, like whatever, fine. But so there. I mean, there's parts of it that were crazy, but overall.
Melissa Lord said, right, Justin. Marvel Pure said that the Century comics are also overrated and anticlimactic too. Oh, so the comics aren't terribly great. And then it said, at least the Marvel Knights ones. And then it says, Thor is greater than Century. Not even close. And then it said, people complained about CGI mid-battle final acts. Big battle final acts. Now we don't even get a final fight in a comic book movie. Yay? What's the point? Dan Blackroyd said U.S. agent. Melissa Lord said Red Guardian is annoying like Reva. Shouting is acting. It's supposed to be funny because he yells what they say, but really it's just irritating. Dan Blackroyd said, I predicted all of this from the trailers you went through on your stream, all the memories being revisited and worked through. They worked through their problems. Melissa Lord said they could have done something interesting with John Walker, but it's modern day Marvel, so it has to focus on Little Widow. And then said, and they make him the butt of all the jokes because he's the straight white guy. I was kind of worried about that. I was kind of worried that he'd be kind of that side. But then what about Bucky? Well, like he wasn't made the joke on that side of things. Huh. Funny they picked John Walker though. Star Wars Marvel Pure said Revan should be played by Horse Teeth from Andor. She's top-notch actress now. Oh no. And then said, Revan can be a girl. Every SJW Disney shill ever. Yeah. Angelina said, and sorry, I didn't mean to repeat myself. I didn't think you guys could see the question. Oh, no worries at all. You don't have to worry about that. That's fine. Like it was, I was between that fan film and then I just immediately jumped into Hitman's question little mini review there of Thunderbolts. So no worries at all. I understand. And I hope we answered your question. Marvel Pierce said, Hitman is now a shell. No. We have lost Hitman to the dark side.
That's fine.
Oh boy. Okay. How much do you have a time limit much tonight, sir, or?
Oh, probably no later than like 7:30ish.
Okay, let's
7:30 between.
All right, let me hit these last two comments that came in, and then we'll jump into the next article that I want to get into. Angelina had said, "Who do you both think would play a good Bastila? Brie Larson? Oh hell no. Who would you think would play a good Bastila, Hitman? Because honestly, I'm drawing kind of a blank. I don't know what.
Don't you dare say Keira Knightley.
No, I would no.
Oh, I thought you were going to.
No, I can't think of like too many like English actresses that would, smoothly fit into that role.
That's a good one. I don't know. I'd have to think. Well, it can't be Jennifer Gardner because she sucked as Elektra. And it can't be the girl from Andor because she's in love with Serial Boy. Can't be the girl who played Bo-Katan because she's still depressed that she was removed from her throne. I don't know. That's good. I don't know. Emma Watson. Probably not.
One person. Hang on. Where's the actress's name? Although she would have to get into fighting shape. I thought maybe Jenna Coleman, who was in Doctor Who as one of the as Clara. For some reason she popped into my head.
Jenna who?
Jenna Coleman. But that was it. That was the for me for an immediate that would be my answer. But like I said, I don't know a whole lot of English actresses and stuff like that would have the accent and be able to perform it well.
Yeah, no, he does not. She's too short.
I don't know what even Basil's original height is to confirm if shortness is a factor.
It is. Kate Beckinsale. No, I don't know.
I don't know either. Let me go on to some more comments here really quick. John Walker.
Rosamund Pike.
Marvel.
She played in.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying she played in. Oh, you are right. Jenna Coleman is English.
Yeah.
I know that. Interesting.
Star Wars Marvel Pierce said John Walker is a bad dad for sitting in a room with his kid crying in a crib. I mean, he could have went to go buy a pack of smokes, and also no need to helicopter parent. Go out for a pack of smokes and a gallon of milk and never come back. Dan Blackridge said the online YouTube space crapped on John Walker for his debut as Cap more than this movie ever did, but now everyone loves him. I know the Melees, they were team John Walker from the get-go. That's what they were saying, that he was the only good character that was in the Winter Soldier, Black Falcon, whatever. But yeah, I mean, most of the things was crapping on him. Marvel Pure said, yeah, they tried to make him the bad guy in FAWS, but he was the most based in this entire series. And then said Gemma Arterton probably getting too old though. And then Angelina said Angelina Jolie. Nah, again getting up there. I'm also like, but I even think maybe Jenna Coleman might be getting too old for the role too. But then I don't. So what was Basila's age at that time?
28.
What?
28.
Oh, sorry. They had something else. $19 or $20. I'm seeing around.
Crazy.
Oh, or yeah, in her early to mid 20s, maybe. Yeah. Marvel Purist said, "Do you know who Gemma Arterton is? Bond girl, Clash of Titans, Kingsman." Hang on. I might recall her. I might have seen her before. Oh, I remember seeing her in some stuff. Yeah, she might have been good for it. That was the Marvel Pierce says she would be a fine looking Basil. That's kind of what I like. Also, like I was like, who would look body type in it? Who would actually look attractive too? Huh?
Who do you say?
Gemma Arterton. And Dan Blackroyd comes in with Gina Carano. No, I'm gonna have to say that doesn't work for me, brother. All right. I want to definitely get into this one. This article here. All right. I don't know if you saw this, but leave it to the smooth brains over at Kotaku. Could we be about to enter a skippable boss fight utopia? Now, this probably doesn't speak too much to you, Hitman, since like you've said you aren't a massive gamer. But I mean, what does that say to you? Being able to skip the bosses. I mean, do you think that's a worthwhile sort of thing?
Sounds like you'll get a trophy for second place.
The participation trophy. So yes, South of Midnight has shown it's possible without destroying the very fabric of the universe. Oh, really? So we're gonna put it on that game, huh? Oh, okay. So in a gaming world increasingly built out of Souls-likes, where the concept of the boss battle becomes the central game mechanic, some of us have been left behind. I have always hated boss fights. Well, you're a bitch. Oh, who? John Walker. Well, again, a bitch. Boss fights are generally the best parts of games. They yes can be very frustrating, but also can be very fun and very rewarding when you beat, especially a frustrating boss. And it's especially meant to cap off either certain segments of the game, especially when it came to things like the original Final Fantasy VII, when after, spoiler alert, Aerith gets killed, gets murked. You fight the Genova boss, and that kind of encaps the end of that, moving into then disc 2 effectively. The certain big boss fights and stuff like that, that's what they're bringing to the game, like certain transitional moments into bigger ones, bigger segments of the game, or just to, just to put that big cherry on top of the final end of the game where you have your final boss. It'll always still be like it, and I'll still say on Final Fantasy VII, there was nothing that I enjoyed more when I got to the end of the game and beat Angel Sephiroth, and then got to basically fucking just easily whoop the shit out of the real Sephiroth hanging out in a little lair. That was also, it all felt so rewarding then, because also you kind of had to have some of your shit together when taking on Angel Sephiroth. It could be kind of a bitch. So I don't understand this line of thinking whatsoever. So saying, and while I have no interest in convincing anyone else to agree with me, I have long lamented the lack of accommodation made for the many other people who are already with me. But sniff the air, something's changing. If you didn't have an interest in convincing anyone else to agree with you, you wouldn't have written the freaking article, dude. Maybe that's just me. Because, I mean, the whole point of putting your own opinions and thoughts out there are also to not only see if anybody else agrees with you or disagrees with you, but also if you can turn some heads, especially if you're convincing enough. It's kind of the point of all of what we do to, you know, talk, provide evidence and all that. And I guess we're going to see right here if he can provide his points and whether or not there's that change in the air. Saying, I recently loaded South of Midnight, interested to check out such a gorgeous looking game, and was immediately delighted by the art and the extraordinary performances in the cutscenes. But then, as Zach warned us, I don't know who this Zach is, I was immediately underwhelmed by the repetitive combat. However, while I idly fiddling through the game's settings to see what was what, I saw a toggle I absolutely was not expecting. Boss skip option. In other words, turbo journalist mode. See, this is why I generally stay very far away from I usually stay away from new games. I'm sorry, go ahead, Hitman.
Well, I'm okay. So you said I acknowledge I don't have great perspective when it comes to this kind of stuff. But if you remove the boss stage, if you will, kind of what I'm gathering, it takes away from the story, does it not?
It can, yes.
Imagine this: you play Knights of the Old Republic, but you don't have Malik. Well, the story goes to pot,
right?
Or you play Jedi Outcast and you don't have, I forget his name.
Dasan, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have Dasan. Like, what's the point of the game? Just have a massive open world. You just want to go to open world game. Like, the whole concept of like bosses is because they're part of the story.
Pretty much.
Like, imagine playing the old like Nintendo, the NES Ninja Turtles, right? If you didn't you're just not going to fight any of the Foot Clan soldiers to get to Shredder, then what are you doing?
You know,
same thing could be said about like Mario, like Mario versus Donkey Kong. Those old, that old game. Like, what's the point? Like, there's got to be a reason. Like, what justification do you have? You better have a really good justification, which you don't, by the way, because the whole premise of a game is to beat it. So what are you going to beat if there's no boss? Just lazy. It's just lazy. Just lazy. It's actually not even lazy. It's just stupid. Like, what's...
Well, it's like, I understand having more options for a game, but not when you're cutting out basically gameplay mechanics or gameplay segments of the game. You should not be cutting that out of the game.
Right, but you're trying to remove something that has always been a part of games.
Yes. If you want a movie, go watch a goddamn movie.
Right. This isn't that you're not revolutionizing the industry by coming up with a new idea.
Not this one.
No. So again, I yield the floor. But to somebody who isn't an avid gamer, this is stupid. Like it doesn't even make sense to me, and I don't spend I don't spend a great amount of time. Assassin's Creed. I love Assassin's Creed. Or I love Gears of War. Like, what's the point of playing Gears of War without the Horde? Or the Locust? Like, what? The Locust. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I digress. Continue.
Okay. So yeah, here they show the boss skip option in the game there. See, I'm glad I'm not a consumer and I don't buy every new piece of shit game that comes the fuck out. So I'm not contributing to this sort of trash. Into 2017, I wrote one of the most controversial articles of my career, a piece in which I received literal death threats. Oh boy, here we go. Alongside hundreds of more banal insults and wishes for my imminent demise, as someone battle-hardened by Gamergate. Ah, yes, we always Retreat back to good old Gamergate. If you were hardened, battle hardened even, you also wouldn't have to acknowledge this bullshit. You would actually just be moving forward and continuing with your point. But you're trying to now make yourself seem somehow tougher than you actually are, or above it all. I'm trying to understand this, but saying it takes quite a bit for the scale of backlash to take me by surprise. Okay, so yeah, you're trying to act like the tough guy here. And while I knew it would piss some people off, I didn't predict the volume. If you have receipts on those death threats, by all means. I wrote an article suggesting that boss fights should be skippable. Imagine my temerity. Yeah, you're goddamn retarded. No way in hell should gaming have those sort of skippable moments. Like, I understand after you've already watched a scene and you say you died by the boss or died by something, like being able to skip then the scenes after the fact. Like, I get that, because you're like, okay, let's just get back to my point where I died. But when you're taking out, again, I'm going to repeat myself a bit probably with this, but when you are, removing gameplay elements and mechanics to the game, I think that's then detrimental to the game and removes any point to playing a video game, because video games are meant to have an interactive, you are taking part in that game. It's an and for most parts, yes, for some can be interactive storytelling, but again, everything comes down to, first, you have to have good gameplay. That will make or break. That's the main key thing. If your game isn't fun to play, why would I stick around for the story? And then sometimes, for some people, if the gameplay can be immensely fun, but the story is trash, but they're still willing to go through it because they still want to keep playing with the mechanics of the game and stuff like that. Usually for me, like, yes, mechanics can be great, but if the story also isn't living up to that, that'll turn me off a lot of the times. So, continuing on, there are so many games I've never seen the end of, but for YouTube, I suppose, because I just wasn't physically capable of completing the later bosses. Then get good, motherfucker. Get freaking good. I've never finished Metroid Prime. What? I'm pretty sure even I've finished Metroid Prime. Fuck, I beat Super Metroid back in the day. God damn, dude. This is just sad. This is the state of quote unquote games journalists nowadays. For fuck's sake, dude. For instance, despite it being one of my all-time favorite gaming series, there are other games I've been enjoying so much, but just had to abandon because every so often there would be a difficulty spike of such enormous disproportion that eventually I would lose all will to try. But that's part of the fun of any of these games, is running into those challenges, because then once because like it is, I'll be like a stubborn mule. Like, I want to keep doing my tactic until it works sometimes. But then once I've gotten so frustrated, I'll maybe turn off the game, take a step back, refresh, and go, okay, I need to actually go about this in a different manner. And then once you've discovered like a new tactic or a new way to use whatever powers you have in game, it is so goddamn rewarding when you then beat that frustrating boss. You get that dopamine hit of, yes, I've conquered this bastard. Let's freaking go. That's the fun of all of this. That's the beauty of it.
You want to know how many weeks I've probably spent on trying to beat the swoop racing on pairs? The free freaking bastard.
Trying to go through the fighting arena on Terrace could be frustrating at times. I'm trying to think of like what games I've streamed recently where you could probably hear I was getting frustrated as all holy hell in the game, into where I just kind of took a moment, decompress for a moment. I almost said something. Decompressed for a moment, and I was like, okay, I gotta go about this in a different way. And then I tried some different moves and everything, and then I got through it. And I think that's kind of like the extra. There's like almost like an extra added level of I don't know what I don't want to say not stress, but there is like especially when you're streaming a game, like there's this extra level of like, I have to now beat this. I've got like a potentially an audience, regardless of 1 to 10 to whatever. Like now it's like, because I'm doing this live and people can watch this, I'm under more I pressure me. I don't know. I hate to say pressure because it's still at the same time, I'm like, it is. I'm usually having fun playing still, but like, your frustration sometimes build up, but there's that extra desire to then push forward and get the game going, no matter how stuck you are. So yeah, like I'm just not this is just coming off like a whiny bitch to me. Where was I? Oh yeah, okay. And to be abundantly clear, this isn't just about my incompetence. It sounds like your incompetence, dude. There are obviously a billion boss fights I've successfully completed, but almost none I've even vaguely enjoyed. For me and millions of others, they are mostly tedious obstacles that get in the way of enjoying the rest of the game. So again, like I said, Final Fantasy VII, final boss fight with Sephiroth, awesome. Or the Angel Sephiroth. I just had it and my brain freaking froze on me. Oh yeah. So again, back to Super Metroid. The mother brain the boss fight I enjoyed the shit out of. I died a few times, but I enjoyed doing it. Even so, like even recently, like playing the System Shock remake, I had a blast getting through that. I was struggling at the end though, but I persevered and I struggled. I hate to say struggle because I still had fun with the game, but like I made it, beat the end of it, and it was great. I felt relief. I felt, invigorated. I thought it was great to do so. Even beating Saren, because having Saren in Mass Effect 1 as a boss fight is awesome, because then they also throw in the dialogue that you get to have between you and Saren, and you can end it in a different way. You can have different outcomes. That's awesome. That's a great way to do things. Like generally, I'm trying to think if there was ever like a disappointing boss battle from a game, and I'm just kind of, at least for the games that I actually like bother to play, I'm kind of drawing a blank. And if anybody's got their own, I mean, by all means, throw them out there. So yeah, continuing on. Oh wait, so for me and millions of others, they are mostly tedious obstacles that get in the way of enjoying the rest of the game. You're full of shit. So it struck me, why not just let me skip them? Who loses out? Well, then you are also just kind of slapping the developers in the face by skipping their hard work, what they put in. And usually I do find developers to be a bunch of also smug pricks, because they especially don't want to listen to criticism of their game from the QA, from the quality assurance side. But you're skipping out on somebody's hard work. Like, especially when people design creative and interesting boss fights, they don't want them to be skipped. No, they want them to be enjoyed by everybody. So yeah. So, well, it turns out the answer to that question in 2017 was very angry people. Way to be very dismissive, bro. For reasons never quite comprehensively elucidated. Did somebody just like grab the thesaurus and was like, I've got to use a big word?
Yeah, pretty much.
My being able to carry... Sorry, go ahead.
You don't know what elucidated means?
I went to California public school, so no.
Oh, well, I don't either, so.
My being able to carry on playing a game I like without finishing a specific fight causes them great personal injury. you're trying to rationalize your bitchiness. To skip over a boss is, I was told, both a moral and physical affront, and the addition of such an option would be very likely to destroy video games, if not all of society. Okay, now you're just being a little over dramatic here, but it would start a bad trend, yes, in my opinion, when you again start removing gameplay segments and gameplay mechanics. That is not good. Games have already been made fun of. People saying that they're basically becoming walking sims, for fuck's sake. This won't help that case any, dude.
Well, that's what they want.
Oh, I know, because they want their jobs to be easier, because they're just whiny, bitchy, glorified fucking auteur journalists. They hate being in this hobby. That's the fucking thing of it. They hate being in this sector of things because they don't want to. They think they should be writing for the New York Journal or whatever, the big hoity-toity magazines and shit like that. They should be reporting on real things, not video games. But they're stuck here because this is where their ambitions has landed them. Fucking hell, man. And yet sorry, go ahead.
I said feel better.
Yes, a little bit. Yet in the month since South of Midnight released, I have yet to witness the collapse of humanity. Go fuck yourself, dude. In fact, I've heard only very few people talking about it. From what I've heard is that it's a very meh game in the string of things, but so going on, this is not the very first time the game has offered a way past tough spots. A fair new few big game A fair few big name games have had options to let you skip entire missions should you fail them, though. Red Dead Redemption 2 and Days Gone, for instance, while many others will offer to lower difficulty if you're flailing. Yeah, and I give down marks on Red Dead for doing shit like that. You should not be able to just skip entire segments just because you're having a hard time. Fucking grit your teeth, get through, bitch.
The only thing I would say, like, if you're gonna skip anything, like, I do, like, this is an option for at least Assassin's Creed, where like you can skip kind of like the dialogue.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, I understand like being able to skip like a cutscene or anything, especially once you've already gone through it and you like died by an enemy or a boss and you're just trying to catch back up. I get that, but not.
But sometimes the dialogue's important though too.
Oh, absolutely. It's always important to the story they're trying to tell. And then sometimes in that dialogue may also give you clues to what's going to like transpire in the fight with a boss or something.
Yeah.
You know? So for video games, everything is important to some degree.
Because if it wasn't, why would they put it in?
Exactly. So. Continuing on, but it's still vanishingly rare, and South of Midnight is the only instance of specifically being able to skip bosses that I'm aware of. Let me know other examples. And it harms no one, not even that guy, you know, Dave, the one who's, oh God, still unironically says get good. Yeah, and I fucking said it, bruh. Get good. It just lets more people play more games the way they want to. That is to allow people to play games the way they want to is also allowing more varied like gameplay mechanics, just the gameplay mechanics, you know, power sets, weapons, and stuff like that. And like the ability to stealth, to be a berserker. Those are the sort of things that, yes, should give people like freedom to play around with the game, not skipping segments. But you want to know what? used to be commonplace. It was incredibly rare that a game didn't ship with a suite of hidden cheat codes. But usually you had to find out what those cheat codes were through either playing the game or maybe getting like a certain magazine, knowing friends that happened to discover said cheat codes. It used to be like, you know, a thing of of who knows what sort of thing. Like, could you find people that knew the certain secret codes, or again, like I said, get that certain strategy?
Weren't the magazine guys? Was it
strategy guides? Yeah, strategy guides, or gaming magazines used to have some. They would drop like, oh, hey, guess the this week's secret code or this month's cheat code for this game.
Those are for those of us that did not have internet.
Well, that was even before internet became so normalized, you know, like the magazines were the place to go, or the strategy guides.
Even before Game Informer, man.
Yeah.
But like I remember like cheat codes for like freaking, I didn't know Jedi Outcast had cheat codes until, you know, later on.
Right.
So I remember having to put cheat codes into Mortal Kombat.
Yes, Mortal Kombat 2 especially I remember doing for to get through some of the game a little bit easier. But that was after I'd already played the shit out of the game. So like
right, but not even cheat codes. I had to learn how to do moves. They had moves.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and this was the thing. This was always our rule. Like you had to play through the game before you got to use cheat codes.
Right.
Like that was the bottom line. Like if you wanted to use cheat codes for a game, you had to beat it first. Then it was called, okay, you've played and beaten the game. Awesome. Now you could do some screwball fun with whatever cheat codes, especially in GTA, summoning the tank and then just going on a complete killing spree and stuff like that. Absolutely.
This whole like, I'm going to play the game first with cheat codes.
Yeah.
So
you'd find them in the next edition of your favorite gaming magazine. So we just kind of, and then type them in to become invincible or have infinite ammo and then blitz through the boss that was troubling you. And we usually made fun of people that did that shit. And yet the schools remained open. Supermarkets still had toilet paper on the sale. Everything was still okay. This was again, you know, this is why we need to gatekeep harder. Because we had mealy-mouthed little pussy-ass worms like this coming along thinking this sort of shit is okay. If anything, not being able to cheat past an impossible boss is the crime against it.
What did you say?
See, now he's just being deliberately antagonistic. He said, if anything, not being able to cheat past an impossible boss is the crime against nature.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm fairly certain this has appeared in South of Midnight as a consideration for accessibility, and that's wonderful. No, it's not. Go fuck yourself. You know what this I've brought, and I wish again like this was still available on the old Star Wars Galaxies website. But I remember a player spotlight that they had where the dude was like wheelchair bound, very limited mobility, but he managed to play a complicated game like Star Wars Galaxies and he made it fucking work. I mean, nowadays we do have people playing Dark Souls in weird and creative ways.
Yeah.
I don't think there needs to be the accessibility debate anymore. Just as I've said this before, for the developers out there that want to make a game, just make your fucking game the way you want it to. And then yes, let the market decide, as it were. Let the players decide if they like it or not. Lay off on all the bullshit. Just present your game as is, and if people gravitate to it, awesome. If not, sorry, it is what it is, dude. But you know, some people aren't. Not everybody's gonna grab onto your game. Just don't have a hissy fit like some developers out there have, and blame the entire gaming community for it. You could fuck off with that shit. It's worth noting the game even lets you skip combat. Again, fuck you to anybody that gave this goddamn game money. I know, like, hey, we shouldn't dictate the way people spend their money, yada yada yada. But you know what? With a game that is doing skipping combat and skipping bosses in the game and everything, no, fuck that. This sort of shit should not be encouraged whatsoever. And fuck you for doing so. Because this will help set a trend, because the whole reason this game it has still been talked about is because it is going to be getting some kind of traction. And when they have the shitbird fucking journalists like this spreading this sort of nonsense, you know, then because the developers and the journalists, there's an incestuous relationship between the two, and they're going to end up taking some of these points and running with them. You're just going to encourage bad trends in gaming. Not good ones, but bad ones. Ugh.
Very bad indeed.
Although given how dull it is, this seems to fix another issue entirely. In the last few years, we've seen a dramatic change in how AAA games are being made, with the needs of players put front and center. Few big name game launch these days without offering a wealth of incredibly specific options, allowing people to tailor games to their specific requirements, which is all well and good until you reach a difficulty spike boss fight in which all such amenities seem to get thrown out of the window. Oi, you be good enough at this bit, no matter your specific situation, or you're done playing. But could South of Midnight be the start of a trend? See, they're going to try and push this shit. And no, Dave, I don't mean I'm demanding that Souls-like games in which the entire point is mastering the techniques required for all 8 trillion bosses all let me skip over. No, you do. You want that. That's absolutely why you wrote out this article. That's exactly what you're trying to push. Otherwise, if it wasn't really the case, why bother with this? There would be no point to it. You just shut the fuck up and move on. I mean, it'd be brilliant if they did. See, you throw this in the print. I'd love to explore the lands between because the place looks amazing, if not for all the immediate death. As games superbly copy one another with their accessibility options, could we start to see the boss fight skip button become standard? It's an impossible thing to believe in because we're never allowed nice things. The gatekeeping around the topic is about as fierce as anything gets in this hobby. So many Daves horrified that others might enjoy a part of the game for which they have not demonstrated their worth. But I still allow myself a glimmer to stare through the crack in the wall South of Midnight has offered at the beautiful sunlit field beyond you. Unbearable baguette. So yes, I mean, I can't stand this sort of mentality. I already despise Kotaku for all their fucking worth. And it doesn't surprise me that it doesn't surprise me that they're now trying to, and I mean, yeah, the game has it cooked into their fucking systems to allow you to skip bosses and combat skip option. Surprised them to have that turned on. But no, this will invariably, yeah, if it keeps up with enough traction and shit like that, this will set a standard. I hope to God it actually doesn't, but you know, sadly, it wouldn't surprise me if more developers, especially at the behest of the journos, start to do so. Melissa Lord had said, right, Fractured, if you want to watch a movie, then do that. We want to play video games and beat bosses. We earn those cutscenes. Goddamn right. Dan Blackroyd has said, Fractured, do you need the Hideo Kojima chicken hat for the rest of the stream? Listen. The chicken hat popped on when I was just fucking around. Otherwise, I got through Phantom Pain just fine. And Metal Gear Solid 3 just fine. It just when I was screwing around and dying a lot, the chicken hat started.
Are they coming out with
Huh?
Are they coming out with a new one?
No, that's Death Stranding.
Oh.
So do you have any final thoughts on all this malarkey, or
It's just nonsensical
bullshit?
It's just linguistic nonsense. It's not even linguistic. It's just nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. Like, to do this, you literally defeat the purpose of gaming, and under the false premise of like, well, we're just going to make it easier. It's like that. No, that's not how games work. If you don't want to play a game, if you want to watch a movie, like you said, then go watch a movie. If you
Yeah, and if you just want to watch the story for the video game, just go on to YouTube. Somebody has the long play to watch, or just the cut scenes clipped out, or the story segments, just so you can see all that. Do that then.
Like, but that's the whole concept of the boss. Like when I hate Tavion. I hate her. I remember texting you when I was doing my playthrough of Outcast. And I couldn't beat her.
Yeah,
I was like, and you were like, oh yeah, she's not a nice woman. But it was so hard for me to beat her because I hadn't played it in years. But again, I had to turn off the game and walk away. But that drive to like, no, that satisfaction that you get after you beat the boss, that's the whole point of who's our friend that always is getting the Nerdy Neo. He's always trying to get the trophies.
Yeah, he's an achievement hunter. Yeah,
it's the whole point.
Yeah, playing through the game and doing particular stuff in the game is all linked together. And then especially for achievements, you got to play the game to earn those achievements.
Give me a second.
No problem. Let's see here. We go back a bit. Melissa Lord said the only two characters I cared about were I'll get back to that in just a moment. Let's see. Dan Blackbird said walking the streets looking for the latest cheat codes like crack. I mean, almost like you were trying to like, especially if you heard about certain cheat codes that you really wanted to get, it's like, holy shit, I got to find out how to get those. Angelina says the Fracture Filter, have you both played We Happy Few? Well, I've been working on some great ideas for a We Happy Few sequel on my phone. I've been trying to reach out to Compulsion Games. Oh, cool. I did play a good, not a good bit, but I did play a bit of that game. It was challenging. I need to revisit it though. It has been a very long time since I tried that game out. I'll have to check it out again. I got stuck at one point and I meant to go back to it, but I kind of have like a especially before streaming games, I have a bit of a gaming ADD where all this in kind of Hitman, the way he puts it, sometimes like, oh, what squirrel? What squirrel? And I'll get distracted very quickly by other games. So it's just, that's one I'll have to revisit for sure. But I remember it was pretty interesting, pretty crazy. Dan Blackbird pointed out Metal Gear Solid 3 is coming out as a remaster. Yeah, I'm still on the fence about it. Still on the fence. But yeah, this is all bullshit. You should not be skipping boss fights. You should be earning that final cutscene or just the next cutscene and stuff like that. It's triumphant. Feels good.
Maybe those don't want to do it then. I don't know.
Don't play the game. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. How about you? You got any final things, or is that it for you?
That's it for me. Yeah.
All right. Let me go back to some chat really quick. Melissa Lord had said the only two characters I cared about were Bucky and John Walker. Jason Voorhees could have offed the rest and I'd be like, eh. Dan Blackheart said U.S. agent does game journalism now. I know, right? I was confused by the name as well. Melissa Lord says these horrible game reviewers that can't beat games. Lamau. we everybody still famously knows the one that could not get past the tutorial in Cuphead. Dan Blackheart says the guy is so versatile. Cap in gaming, such a great guy. God damn it. Melissa Lord says the commie journals need to get good or uninstall it and stop reviewing video games. 100%. I'm with that. 110%. Dan Blacker says you all love John Walker 5 minutes ago. Different John Walker.
No, absolutely no. No, absolutely don't like John Walker.
Not the one that wrote this article. That's for damn sure. Melissa Lord says also they could use cheat codes. IMAP, but they aren't that smart. Is that LMAP or IMAP?
LMAP.
Cheats.
I know.
Cheats IMAP, but they aren't. I'm trying to think of what is being said with that one. Because I mean, like, especially like I saw like, was it IDKFA for Doom the original? But that you had to open the console command to do that, or no? Did you just type it in? I forget now. Fuck. Then, like, anytime I'm playing Doom, I'm installing Brutal Doom and having a fucking blast.
Brutal Doom.
Hell yeah. Angelina said, and I thought that was a bad fan KOTOR too. Okay, so you're not alone in thinking that's a bad fan film. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay, here. Yeah. I kind of wanted to. Maybe I'll save that for next week. But this, I think we should get to today. You ready to get your blood boiling?
Yeah. Is it a long article?
All right, I'm skimming through really quick. Kinda, yeah. Never mind. Then I'll do this other thing. Is that one long? No. Let's do this one. Even though you're not a big fan. So the other day, this came across. Oop, wrong thing. So yeah, I just came across this, I think on Facebook or something. Godzilla 70th anniversary trailer debuts new Godzilla design with green atomic breath. This is on the Godzilla-movies.com. Toho have just dropped the first trailer for their new Godzilla ride, which opens this summer. The VFX shots were designed, directed, and produced by Godzilla Minus One director Takashi Yamazaki and feature an epic design upgrade for Godzilla, teasing Gojira's... Why do you now change the spelling? New green atomic breath. Check out the epic trailer below. Yes, there's this one here. Says I've added screenshots in our gallery, but I do have the link to the actual Toho page for this, because I was like, wait, is this legit? I was really wondering if it was a legit thing, because that just almost made me scream fan stuff. But on the Godzilla official by Toho on YouTube, I did find it. Here we go. And we'll just kind of take a look at this. This is kind of the last little thing. I kind of have some thoughts. Don't know if you're ready for this or not, Hitman, but here we go. trying to decide where he's kind of taking this roar from for this Godzilla. I'm not sure if he is going into like Godzilla's revenge or fire. What was it? Fire monster versus Gigantus. Gigantus the fire monster. I don't know if anybody did see like some of the footage from the original Godzilla ride, but it is pretty cool because if you saw that and then saw Godzilla -1, like you saw where then he just basically kind of took that same design and put it into -1. And this is just looking like, yeah, an upgraded version, looking a little sleek, a little bit sleeker. The fins have changed on the back, which I'd be curious to see a little more in motion. I mean, I think the VFX still looks awesome for this version of Godzilla. Again, the roar I'm a little off on, and I'm a purist. Unless it's like a special like style of the heat blast, I think it should remain the blue, the classic traditional blue that we all know it to be. Not this green. I mean, the green does look cool. Don't get me wrong. Like it's an interesting contrast of the green and the black and everything.
Not the blue though.
No, not. But for me, the blue looks insanely better and more appropriate for Godzilla. But like, this is certainly a cool teaser for the ride. And I would love nothing more than to get out to Japan, even to see the first ride. And hey, I'll never be against using the traditional music for anytime Godzilla arises from the sea. So, like I said, the roar kind of sets me off a little bit. I'm kind of on trying to get it. But otherwise, I'd be very curious to see what they're doing for the new ride. Which was like, even the original was kind of like on a whole big roller coaster thing. Or kind of like, if anybody that saw like the Back to the Future ride, I think kind of like that same sort of setup where they're all in chairs and everything, and then it's kind of being transported around. But the thing that I also took from that original thing was the Ghidorah looked really freaking cool. But I would have preferred more the classic look. I'll always be a classic appreciator for Ghidorah. But I thought this scene was also pretty cool. Again, getting kind of more of a look at the fins. They look like for this iteration, he's rounded out the fins a little more. They're not as sharp as they were in -1.
I wish they would have had the blue though.
Yeah, I wish they would have kept with the blue as well. And they still kind of have the like my brother and I have said, like ever since the legendary Godzilla, they've gotten overly dramatic with with Godzilla charging up his heat ray. I know it looks cool, but like it just to me that's kind of it just feels a little like, especially if you're trying to get him into doing like combat, it's a little unnecessary and too drawn out. But otherwise, like I'd be real, like I said, I'd be really curious to see this in person. And again, I would love to actually like hear it uninterrupted or like unhindered by like certain audio and stuff like that to hear the roar more clearly. If he mixed like the original roar in -1 and all, which I was kind of on, but I still thought it wasn't bad. Yeah. So I'd be curious with this one as well. But yeah, I just thought, hey, cool little 55-second little thing just to kind of take a look at really quick.
I need to go watch King of the Monsters now.
Sounds like a plan. Okay. Well, I do gotta say, it was great coming back. I kind of regret how things started out, but
nah, it's okay. It's fine.
It is what it is. We have made our choices. They have happened. They are what they are. But I had fun one way or another. So Let me just get to the chat really quick. Melissa Lord confirmed it is what it is. Mistype. Angelina says, what was your guys' reaction to Ahsoka series finale and South Park Panderverse? I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand. You know, you got, yeah, the whole, oh God, now I'm trying to remember the ending to Ahsoka.
The jump.
Oh, right. The magical jump. And then Ezra making it back. Meanwhile, Thrawn gets out. Ahsoka is still chilling on that planet now, along with Sabine and Ghost Anakin.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean,
Ahsoka wanted to have a relationship with Anakin.
Yes, she wanted to jump his ghost bones. I mean, the South Park Panderverse, I get what they were doing, but at the same time, I also I don't think people, and I agree with Greg hates everything and stuff like that. That it was still trying to they were trying to do the whole poking at everyone, but it still felt like more the finger was pointed at us that are calling out South Park and Disney, not South Park, but Disney, Star Wars, and Kathleen Kennedy and everything. Because you have to really look at the characters that they use for the particular setups and stuff like that. It's all intentional. So I didn't mind it, but I'm not overly someone that was touting it as any kind of, victory lap or anything like that. Oh, they totally owned them. No, it was South Park's usual thing. They were riding the very famous fence, and they took shots where they could. And I did feel like it lent more towards kind of taking shot at the people criticizing Star Wars than it did people shilling for it and stuff like that. So, as the phrase is, it is what it is. Angelina then asks, Fracture Filter, did you both hear that Cynthia Erivo is playing Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar? I don't know who that is. So no, I did not hear that. Not surprising that they throw. Well, I don't know who is this. Hang on. Cynthia. Here we go. Of course. Oh, she's the wicked chick. Oh, that's who that is. Mother from Acolyte, says Melissa Lord. Okay. Wait, is it? I don't see her credits for Acolyte. I see her credited for of course, Wicked, Star Wars Visions, but I'm not seeing Acolyte. Huh. I don't. But okay, yeah. Very similar looks, I'd say, Melissa. Just similar looking people. Anyway, yeah. No big deal. Dan Blacker says the teaser for Supernova looks so basic. I don't know what that is either. Anyway, anything else you want to wrap this up with there, Hitman? We're going to kick it over to the ending here.
Well, good. Just be back same time next week.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Of course, be sure to check out Duke Devil 95's channel for our weekly wormhole watch. We've been really enjoying Deep Space Nine, even though Hitman missed the last episode, which he would have had a lot of fun with, especially with all the Bajoran traitors on the station trying to overthrow Cisco. Oh, okay. Dan Blacker says it's the next Godzilla Kong movie. Okay. I haven't been paying attention to Legendary. And of course, I'm usually popping into the weekend pregame on Thursday nights. Do check out for Wednesdays when I do my gaming streams over on the Fractured Filter Gaming channels. But hey, thank you all for hanging out with us. Again, rough start. Thank you, Dan Blackwood, for being here as always, and Melissa Lord. And thank you to the new face in the crowd, Angelina Sereni. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Thank you for being here and watching along with us. Hope you had a good time. Star Wars Marvel purist. Wow, we didn't have Captain Keeley around. Brandon Tran hadn't popped in. But just know you guys are in our hearts. Jorge Lucas, and of course, Carl of RNG podcast did pop in. Duke Devil 95. And, oh yeah, Star Wars Scran. Thank you, sir, for dropping by. Oh, and Gabriel Knight. Thank you for popping in too. The Backseater was also here. First in. We had the Briscoe 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, thank you everybody for hanging out, showing up, and all that jazz. You make it so much more fun and enjoyable. Instead of just in Hitman we'd still be yelling at clouds, but it's fun to bounce off of you guys in the chat and go back and forth. And then it's Dan Blackrider said, abandoning children and teammates in game of all varieties. Nice. Hey, Firafima, have a good evening, all. You too. Thank you for hanging out. Y'all have a great night, and we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What is thy bidding, my master?
Yeah, I should have known from the very beginning. From what you said. Yeah, when the mega powers were formed. Yeah, what you were out for from the very beginning. Yeah, you were after what was mine. I remember what you said.
You can destroy the Emperor. Join me. Together, we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
Yeah, that one was rough. Those words right there. Yeah, I got stuck, yeah, but I swallowed it anyway. Didn't like the taste, but I swallowed it anyway, yeah. But I remember the time when there was a conquistador out of the ring. The one that's so jealous that he can't stand it, yeah. Yeah, you came in there with your poses, yeah, but you made a big idiot out of yourself, yeah. And speaking of idiot things, what about that stupid idea? Did you forget that one? Think back. That right there sealed your fate. Yeah, that put the madness over the edge. But I'll tell you what felt even better, yeah, was in the dressing room, in the first aid room. Me being unselfish, yeah, said go ahead, do the thing, yeah. You won't steal my thunder, no. When you take a look at the madness's eyes, all you're gonna see is complete and utter rage!